I'm not around, have you found I'm always on your mind? And when you hear my name, does it sound the same as you felt when you heard it last time? Do you see flowers in my hair that aren't really there? Do you feel the pain when I'm blue? And when you see me, does it seem to be that blues change to life in bloom? 'Cause this is how I see you, and these are the things you do. You may not know, so I'm telling you so, the best way I know how to.
Welcome, everyone, to the Boiling Point Podcast. I am your host, JD, but I am not going to be your host this evening. I am feeling very under the weather, so I am just here to get things going, to get things moving, and then I'm going to be hopping out and letting Mariana take over, who is going to lead this watch-along of the West Shore School District. Mariana, it's going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. What are we expecting from this meeting?
Well, today's meeting, what people are waiting to hear, it's not going to be covered in this meeting, which is the bathroom policy and the men and women's sports. Now, that's not to say that the speakers, in tonight might not address the issue and reiterate whatever position they're on. But basically, today's going to be more finances, budget, the attendance policy that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. They're going to review that attendance policy again. They're going to talk about child abuse and what's considered child abuse and what is reportable. So there are different things on the table today, but it's basically most of it is going to be monetary budgets.
Budget stuff.
Right. That's going to be the main thing today. And of course, the controversial attendance policy. Some of people in our community are for it. Some people are against it. Me personally, I think it's a good idea because there is a truancy issue in our schools also. Okay. And unfortunately, some of the parents also enable their children's truancy. So they're trying to find a resolution to that.
Gotcha. I understand. And the budgets. It seems that the West Shore is going to move forward with the natatorium.
Well, yes, the West Shore is going to move with the natatorium, and honestly, I believe that they should. The natatorium is something that's also available to our community for the people to use. A lot of our kids, learn to swim in those natatoriums. The natatorium has been in disrepair for many years. I mean, I would say over 10 years. And if you look back as to who was sitting as the committee person for the facilities, that would have been at the time Abigail Turney, and nothing was done to make these repairs. They knew that it was in disrepair, but it was ignored. Okay, until we started having parents about a year or two ago coming out to the meetings and speaking about the meetings about how overheated the natatorium was becoming. Kids were at the point of passing out. We had tiles that were almost cutting the feet of the kids, and the parents were saying, we need to fix this issue. So Kelly Brent has, taken the lead on this on the natatorium and is pushing to get this natatorium, repaired and as much as we can. Yes, it's going to come with a hefty price, but this natatorium has been way overdue for the repairs to happen.
So
okay.
You guys are going to be repairing the natatorium, and you guys are still trying to get a football field. Is that right?
Yes, but the Red Land project, understand that money comes from grants. It was a grant that was provided, and it had to be used towards like a sports arena of some sort. So that's where the Red Land project comes.
I believe we learned that from
now
the last
there is
meeting about how the Red
correct.
Land project was funded by grants or earmarked funds or whatever, not from necessarily taxpayer money.
That is correct. Now you have people like Abigail Turney that has been fighting against the Red Land project. She's tried to throw the wrench in it, okay, but it's been a battle to get this project forward. But you know what? These kids in Redland, they deserve their own sports field because they are dependent on the sports field in Cedar Cliff. So they have they have to travel a long way. And when you consider, in the fall, the weather, the snow, the rain, what if something happens, on the road to these kids? So these kids has been way overdue that Redland has a sports field. And it's a shame shame that it has to be a battle forward because again, our community, is split on that. We have board members that are trying to stop the project. We also have, with an auditorium, the community is split on that also. Some don't see the need for it, some do. I do see the need for it because I believe, we live in central PA. We're surrounded in many ways by water. These kids need to know how to swim. It's important. Plus there's other, things that they do in that natatorium. CPR classes, swimming classes, first aid, classes that they give, so it is, a benefit. Yes, it's coming with a hefty cost, but you know what? That hefty cost is because when these problems first surfaced with the natatorium, it was ignored. And like anything else, and you know that, Jonathan, that if you have something breaking down in your home and you're ignoring it, okay, and ignoring it and you're letting years and years go by, eventually it's going to break down and the cost is going to be higher. It's going to be more
Yeah.
expensive. It's the same.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. If you ignore something that needs repair, then yeah, the repairs end up costing more.
Hmm. And people are upset about it. I get that. But would this have been fixed in the time that Guy White was president and Tyranny was sitting and not ignored? Uh, we would have not put a band-aid on it versus getting it repaired. We wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now.
It looks like they're running a few minutes late tonight,
That's normal
Mariana.
because they
It's
have an executive
6:32.
session before they start. Okay, so
Ah,
they
the
have an
executive
executive
session is going on.
session.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they are hearing any email sent by the community, responding. Sometimes there's, conflict within. And because when there's conflict within, you see they come out there looking angry. So that's what happens in the executive session. They prepare for the board meeting also. So there's a lot of things that they handle in the executive session. And they also have dinner back there. So
I'm also hoping that we can get a few more people to tune into our feed this week. I want to make sure anybody who's watching this, please make sure you
yes,
share it out to the other parents. We really want. I know that they do their live feed, but you're not going to get any of the commentary or any of the stuff that we offer if you just watch the feed.
that's correct. Now, I'll tell you this in all fairness, a lot of the parents that were joining us today, there's a lot of sickness at the moment. There's a lot of people down sick, you know, with this virus that's going around, and they may be seeing it. They may not jump in because they're not up to par. So, this week is going to be, I don't think we're going to have as much interaction with parents jumping in, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're not seeing it.
Yes, it's definitely going around as I currently have it myself, which is why I'm not appearing on camera because I look like warmed over death.
I can relate. That was me 3 weeks ago. I didn't want to even be bothered. I mean, it hurt to breathe. Yeah, I get it.
Today is the most. Today is I spent more time in my chair than the last 2 days. I've
Well, I'll
I've
tell you,
spent
with this
more.
virus, you're gonna have to stay hydrated. You're gonna have to sleep a lot
Yep,
of
you
soup, a
are
lot of tea.
absolutely sleep a lot. Like I've been so tired. It's just been sucking the life right out of me. It seems like so. Today is the first day that I've started to feel a little bit better.
Correct, correct,
Not
and
that
that's
I'm
good.
Yeah, not that I'm better yet,
That's
but
good.
I'm feeling better.
But you can't overdo.
Yeah,
You
that's why
got
I'm gonna
to,
let Mariana take over and watch and handle this watch along. She's okay with it, and I'm going to take a rest so that I can be ready for next week because next week we got a northern meeting and a West Shore school meeting, so I'm going to be trying to continue with that. And of course, we have an episode that's going to be coming out this weekend, a really great episode on the Boiling Point podcast with professional wrestler Jesse Morris. And the title of it, I believe I entitled it Wrestling with Death. He tells us his story about how he almost died.
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's an amazing story. It's a very
Well, I'm
powerful
gonna make
episode.
sure to jump on and see it.
Yeah. Oh man, this could be one of the most powerful and intense episodes of the Boiling Point podcast that I've been able to produce. So I think it's going to be a really great episode. So look for that this weekend. I'll be putting that up this weekend. It's
Most
going to be a
definitely. I'm gonna let
really
Casey
great
know
episode.
also. Yeah, I'm gonna let my
Yes,
husband know also because he likes seeing stuff like that.
yeah, it's really a great episode. He's got an amazing story. So make sure you make sure you look for that. Of course, we do have other stuff
The
coming
March
up here in the
13th,
next couple of months.
2025
Oh,
Board
there
of
they are.
School Directors meeting.
And we're starting.
The West Shore School District is committed
Okay,
to fostering
Mariana,
a
I'm going to
secure and
hop out and
welcoming
let
environment in our
you
schools
take it from
that
here.
encourages participation
Okay.
from students,
Caller, I'll be behind the
parents,
screen. If you need me, just holler
educators,
for me.
staff, and the
I
community.
will.
I call this meeting to order. Prior to tonight's public meeting, an executive session took place where confidential personnel and student-related issues were discussed. Please take this moment to turn off or silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices to prevent any disruptions during the meeting. Thank you very much. Dr. Argot, roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Britton. Here. Mrs. Tierney. Here. Mr. Geiswhite. Present. Mrs. Davis.
Here.
Mrs. Brent.
Here.
Mr. Cambick.
Here.
Mrs. Thomas. Here. Mrs. Cox.
Present.
Mr. Trone.
Present.
9 members present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition by the board. We have employees for the second quarter. Mr. Cambick.
Thank you, Madam President. This is for the support employee of the second quarter. It is Mrs. Bridget Antle, Secretary at Allen Middle School. This is a letter from Ms. Harrington. It is with great pleasure that I nominate Ms. Bridget Antle as the support employee of the second quarter. As the building secretary, she is often the first person people encounter when they enter Allen Middle School. Her welcoming demeanor, paired with her warm smile and calming voice, ensures that everyone feels immediately at ease. As a first-year head secretary and the sole secretary in the
So,
building,
like always, in the
her
very
ability
beginning
to
of these
embrace this
meetings,
learning
they
curve with
have
enthusiasm and
acknowledgments of
dedication
staff
is truly
and
remarkable.
children.
She actively seeks out feedback, asks thoughtful questions, and continuously strives to improve her skills, all the while maintaining a calm and steady presence. A recent example of her exceptional skill set occurred when we faced an unusual and urgent situation. A student who had left the lunchroom to use the restroom did not return. She utilized the PA system to call for the student. The student did not come to the office, but the phone rang and the caller asked for the principal. She was able to ask questions of the caller in a supportive and calm way, which led to the discovery that it was the missing student making the call. The student, who was struggling with mental health issues and somewhat new to the building, had gone to hide. With remarkable composure, she engaged the student in conversation, calmly asking for descriptions of her surroundings. While she reviewed the cameras, she kept the student calm and focused all the while communicating with administration. Her quick thinking led to the coordinated response of the nurse, school security, counselor, and administration, ultimately ensuring the student's safety and well-being. Bridget's unique blend of exceptional work ethic, emotional intelligence, and dedication to others makes her an irreplaceable asset to Allen Middle School. I am proud to work alongside her and confident in her continued excellence. It is for all these reasons that I wholeheartedly recommend Bridget Antle for a support employee of the second quarter. I would now like to ask Mrs. Bridget Antle to come forward for her certificate of recognition.
So to get to know who's sitting in the front, let's start from the left. First chair, that is Brett Sanders. Next to him is Matthew Gay, Assistant Superintendent. We have Todd Stotz, the Superintendent. We have Kevin Hall, the Solicitor. The guy with the black shirt, and it looks like it has a horse on it, that is David Brinton. Next to him in the purple is Abigail Turney. Next to Abigail, and that would
next
be
up
Brian
we have
Geiswhite.
Professional. Wait,
You
I'm
have
so
Mandy
sorry.
sitting next to Geiswhite.
I'm moving right
The
along.
lady
Sorry
talking in
about
the
that.
blank, that's Kelly Brent.
Good evening. I would like to start off by thanking the board members for presenting me with this award. I would also like to thank Patty Harrington for nominating me. A little background about myself. I am a 2007 Redland graduate. I started helping in the school offices when I was in middle school at Crossroads, giving up every study hall and going down to help. That carried to Redland. When I graduated, I started to work as a receptionist in 2015. I left and then came back to West Shore in 2021 at Allen Middle School. This year has been a challenge, learning to be the only secretary, but a wise person told me if something is easy, then you aren't learning anything new. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
I'm so sorry. Professional. What's that? We have a Katie Hoffman. Do we have her? Yeah. Katie Kaufman. Mr. Geisway.
Yep, thank you. So the professional employee of the second quarter is Miss Katie Kaufman. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep looking at the red light that doesn't come on. The professional employee of the second quarter is Miss Katie Kaufman, fifth grade teacher at Fairview Intermediate School. I'm pleased to nominate Mrs. Katie Kaufman for professional employee of the second quarter 24-25 school year. Before the school year, she demonstrated her effective leadership skills by writing and being awarded a West Shore Foundation grant for our care closet. The care closet would include basic needs items for students and families to be distributed around the school for easy access. She continues to coordinate efforts to resupply items through parent and community donations. As the Fairview Intermediate School
Now, I must
staff
say that
began to
Care
meet
Closet
over the
is a
summers,
good
she
program and it
offered
has helped so
open
many
and
needy
honest
people
feedback about her success
in
and
our
struggles in the
community and
previous school.
families
She
going through
collaborated
difficult
with her new
times.
colleagues to infuse their background, knowledge, and experiences to help our new school function effectively. Specifically, her expertise and leadership with our advanced tier team have helped it effectively support kids and fostered confidence in staff. While she is excellent at collaborating with others, she also displays independent leadership skills and positive influence at Fairview Intermediate School. As we prepared for building tours for students and families, she created helpful directional signs for our hallways and stairwells. Staff and visitors commented on their usefulness in maneuvering the new
The
school.
one speaking right now
In
is Brian
addition to these
Geiswhite, the former
characteristics and
president.
more, she has
Next
also
to him is
excelled
Mandy
in
Davis.
being
In the middle is Mrs.
a
Kelly Brandt.
professional and
Next to
instructional leader
Kelly
at
is Fred
Fairview Intermediate
Cambick.
School.
I'm sorry, Chris Cambick.
As a member of
Then
the
we
ELA
have Heidi Thomas,
curriculum
Brenda
committee, she
Cox, Adam
represents
Trong,
our school as
Ryan
the
Argott, and then we have
HMH coach
Stevie,
representative.
the
In this role, she
accountant.
works with the HMH representative and liaises between the representative
And I'm
her
sorry,
fifth
I
grade
don't know the name
colleagues.
of the
She
lady
goes
all
above
the
and
way at the
beyond in
end of
this
the right.
role, and demonstrated her willingness to have colleagues observe her lessons, co-plan with colleagues, and create materials to help her colleagues with implementation. The phrase, "just ask Katie," can be heard commonly through our halls, classrooms, and meetings about HMH and 95% implementation. She is well respected and well known as a teacher leader and a role model throughout the intermediate level. Finally, and most recently, she has stepped up as our first Fairview Intermediate School Student Council advisor. She has independently and successfully recruited members, held officer elections, and already has her student council organizing monthly school spirit days, collecting aluminum can tabs, and coordinating our first Super Bowl of Caring canned food drive. Her work as a teacher and her leadership have tremendously affected the positive school culture at Fairview Intermediate
Well, I
School.
don't know if I
They
totally agree with
exemplify
that, just
our
that
why,
statement.
what,
She
how.
did work with my
Now, I
boys,
would
and
ask Katie Kaufman to come
she was
forward for
average, I would say, as a
certificate of
teacher.
recognition.
I was not impressed. Now, her community service, yes, that's wonderful. Her teaching ability was average.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I do not have quite the speech that our support employee had, but I want to say being part of a new building has definitely been a unique experience, building everything from the ground up. It's been so much fun. I love all of my colleagues. We've become a family.
Yeah, been very
And I
expensive
look
too.
forward to continuing to do this year after year. It's been a great experience. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any shout outs this evening?
Here we go with the shout outs. This is what we call high school,
Mrs. Davis, don't take my
portion of the meeting.
I'll try not to.
Not board reports, just shout outs.
These are shout outs.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I bet you Tierney's going to say something about the West Shore Regional. Let's see.
Meeting that I wanted to share. The Old Trail newspaper is a student-run club that meets 3 times a cycle to write, research, interview, create, and report the latest events and information to the students at Old Trail Intermediate School. The newspaper is published and sent out to the staff and students at the start of each month and taught by the enrichment teacher, Kristen Stahl. That was the rest. She was saying it was wonderful meeting me. Anyway. And then this is from Karen Butler. And she gave me a few shout outs no, this one's not Karen Butler. This one's actually from, Karen Butler. I have 2 from Karen Butler. She's keeping me very updated and I love it. So,
So the young lady that's speaking right now is Mrs. Mandy Davis, and she is the vice president of the West Shore School District. She is a very lovely person, and like Mrs. Brent and Mrs. Thomas, she has also faced her share of fire from the
26th of February.
how should I say it? From the left,
And she took first
from
place
the
in
left,
her event.
okay?
This means that she
From the
qualified
left
for the
mob
Games of
in our
America
community.
next summer. And then we have Reagan Ryan. Reagan competed this past weekend against the top 38 girls in the state at Seven Springs for the U14 PA Alpine Racing Association State Championships. She dominated the competition, winning the U114 PARA Women's State Champion title. She finished number 1 in the state in slalom. Thank you. And number 2 in the state for giant slalom. She finished first place 5 out of the 6 runs. She is now qualified to move on to the Eastern Championships race held in March at Whiteface Mountain. There she will compete with the top 80 girls from the East Coast. And then we have Kylie McDade, who's in 8th grade. Kylie is a student at Hanshido Karate and recently competed in the Battle of the Dragons World Championship in Atlantic City, New Jersey. She came in 2nd for weapons, 2nd for kata, I hope I'm saying this right, and first
Now, this
place
whole
for
portion of
second
this meeting,
kata.
guys, can
She is
go
now has
20,
several
30
wins,
minutes
including
that time.
senior
I've seen
brown
it go
belt
an
and
hour.
1.5
And
step
this is
away
always
from
a good
black
time
belt.
to go, to the
So
kitchen and
like
get some
I
snacks,
said,
get a drink
and I have one
while
more,
listening to
and
this.
I can relate to this big time because we're wrestling mama and grandma. But Crossroads Middle School had 2 students, Gracie Miller and Tyson Kirkner, attend PJWs in Johnstown. Gracie's in 8th grade, and she came in 4th in the state of Pennsylvania. And Tyson Kirkner, who is Brenda's
My husband has a
grandson,
joke
great as
every
well.
time we get to these shout outs. He says, this is the
Placed
portion where
4th
everybody goes,
in the state of
you're
Pennsylvania.
awesome. No, you're awesome. And
So
you're
it was a fun
awesome,
weekend. We were
and this is
competing
going on for
fast.
like 30, 40 minutes.
And
And
my
yeah, this
son
is really
also was there.
what it is.
And he wrestled well, but he did not place in the top. Didn't make the podium, but who sent us something about? Someone sent me something in PA.
Jonathan, if you can hear me,
Pennsylvania is
you're
like
awesome.
the top wrestling
Sandra, if you
state in
can
the
hear me,
country.
you're awesome.
So it was Brenda. And so that
Christy, if
speaks
you
a
can
lot
hear
for
me,
our
you're
kids in this
awesome.
program when they're
And those
making it
are my
states
shout outs.
and wrestling to the best of their ability. It is a tough sport, and it is emotional because it's all about you. So yeah, that's that shout out. And I have one more thing I would like to say. I had the privilege to participate as a judge at I want to get this right, the Sodexo Future Chef competition. And I had no idea how fun this was going
And
to
this
be.
is a great time for
And
me
we
to
had
come
like
on and
9
say,
and
please
10
visit
year
our
olds. How
store.
many
We
were
have
there,
some
Dr.
great
Schultz? 430
items. We have the American Cross
Dr.
tank
Arbut, how many
top,
students
and I have
participated
these
in this?
mugs that have that cross on it, and they're
7.
gorgeous. I use them
They
every
all
day.
prepared a
So if
meal,
you want something,
and
unique,
they had all
something
their
different,
ingredients.
please
It was the
visit our
coolest thing to
storefront.
watch them, and they did such a good job, and all their food was amazing. But it was Mila. Oh, Mila.
Bordner.
Bordner, thank you. Mila Bordner was our student who placed first, and she goes to Old Trail Intermediate School, and she's in the 5th grade. And she made halibut, butter garlic halibut, and it was delicious. It was baked to perfection. So she will move on to the state. Can you?
It's a regional event.
Into regionals.
We're hoping for nationals, but we got to get through regionals.
Yeah, she did a really good job. So that is my shout out.
Anyone else? No, no. No.
I didn't know if David was going to do wrestling.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
I was there, so.
I thought you were going to do it. So. No, I got it.
You know what?
I was going to do diving.
I'll let you do it.
What? I'm just going to take mine because it piggybacks off of Mandy's. So this Future Chefs National Challenge, these are all of their menu items. And each one of the kids has not only the ingredients, but then the process. And we were given these.
Now,
so
this
we
chef
have all of
challenge
the,
they do
the
every
recipes.
year, and the kids
They
really
all came
enjoy it,
out in
and they
their
do
little
really
chef
great.
hat, and
So,
all the girls have
kudos
their
to the
hair
kids
pulled
because
back,
they really did a
and then
good
they have
job.
their little chef coat on, their little white chef coat. Each was assigned a Sodexo employee, right? Or a like a.
All of the mentors were West Shore employees,
Oh, okay.
except for one that was our Sodexo nutritionist.
Okay, so they each had like a mentor to stand beside for over the hot plates and things like that. But they clearly have worked on these recipes. They needed to have a recipe from scratch. So they took something that they liked and then they altered it a little bit. And Mandy was lucky enough to be a taste tester. I sat with the families. It was a small affair, just the kids and the families and the staff. But they actually then made the kids take their station and clean it off and then clean up all of the place that they cooked. It was really wonderful to see. And all of the families were just wonderful. Dr. Stoltz was there. But it was really a wonderful time. So thank you, Mandy. And I couldn't let that go by. So anyone else? David.
Okay, so as we are moving forward with our natatorium project at Redland, we have a diver who is a District 3 champion who will be participating at States, Hannah Eli, and we wish her all the luck. Also, I noticed that we're lacking some track coaches at Redland. So if you're interested in coaching track, please see Athletic Director,
And
Mr.
again, this is
Pfeiffer.
another reason why we
could
need
use
a
some more coaches
natatorium.
out
We
at
have
Redland.
kids
Thank
that
you.
want to, compete professionally. So it is important this natatorium
Anyone
gets
else?
repaired.
I was going to say the art, but I didn't know if you were going to mention the.
No, you go ahead.
It was, if you look up on the walls and everything here.
That is
it's,
Brenda Cox.
National Youth Art Month too, so a lot of these are the work of our West Shore kiddos. If you want to look around when we're done.
So she's pointing out the artwork that the children do, that they're putting it around the walls. It is good to see that there was one disturbing piece of art a couple of weeks ago that was removed.
All
So
right.
shout out for that.
So last weekend we had several wrestlers compete at states, and I'd like to congratulate Cedar Cliff's Kevin Mylart for earning a silver medal, making it all the way to the championship round in his weight class, 121 pounds. I'd also like to congratulate Cedar Cliff's Gunnar Hiller and Aiden Herndon, along with Redland's Sam Culp, for earning medals. Aiden and Kevin are sophomores and will return next year, while Sam and Gunnar are graduating seniors. I'd also like to mention that Sam Culp, who was born without a left leg, finishes his senior season as a district champion and earned a medal at states for the first time.
Congratulations
just
to him.
Piggyback and recognize a couple of other kids who were part of the Future Chefs Culinary Challenge. While Old Trail's Mila Bordner did win with her halibut in the lemon butter sauce, Newberry's Vivian Vetter took home second place with her shrimp scampi, and it was a wonderful presentation.
Now you see,
It
after
was a
this
beautiful
meeting, I'm
place.
gonna have
And
my
Ross
husband take me
Moink,
out for
Medina
seafood. I
Ghazali,
think I want to try some of that halibut
earned
that he's
third
talking
place
about
with a
and some of them
shrimp
shrimps.
avocado toast. Last week, our Human Resources Department hosted its annual Future Educator Open House with many local educational partners. Those who attended were able to learn more about the opportunities to become part of the educational community and hopefully part of the West Shore School District. Thank you to those who attended and presented to a few dozen of hopeful future educators. And then finally, for the first time, Our West Shore indoor percussion team earned first place in the Winter Guard International Regional Competition held in Virginia last weekend. You can see their home show on March 22nd at Redland High School as part of Keystone Indoor Drill Association competition before they move on to championships in that league in Chambersburg on March 30th.
Thank you. Next up is recognition of the public.
Here we go, people.
Public
Recognition of the
comment
public.
provides an
Brace yourself,
opportunity
Effie.
for our community to address the board. Each speaker will be given 4 minutes. The board will listen to comments from individuals who have filled out a blue form. To maintain order and respect throughout the evening, I ask everyone present to conduct themselves respectfully and to show consideration for those who are speaking. An opportunity for students to speak on business items. Dr. Argot.
We have no students for business items.
Okay. Now, public comments for business items only. Dr. Argot.
We have 2.
Thank you.
Now, there will be another opportunity to speak towards the end. They always start with this also, and this is just for the business side of it.
Denise Dugan.
Denise, she is also part of the Boiling Point podcast and one of our warriors.
Welcome, Denise.
Thank you.
Constitution Smackdown.
I would like
Get him,
to
Denise.
speak to item 5C regarding the Pennsylvania School Board Association being added to our manual that relate to due process procedures involved in removing board officers. So the revision was developed using resources from PSBA and association and was reviewed by members of cabinet as well as legal counsel and have been on public display since the board's meeting in February. Okay, well, the Pennsylvania School Board Association is not a constitutionally created entity and does not have judicial authority to oversee any due process procedures. They must be judicial, as a recent ruling in Sec versus Jakarski, Justice Gorsuch, quote, the Fifth Amendment's due process clause addresses remaining concerns about the processes that would attend trials before independent judges and juries. As originally understood, this provision prohibited the government from depriving a person of those rights without affording him the benefit of, or at least those customary procedures to which free men were entitled to by the old law of England, which was adopted into our American common law. More than that, he goes on, Justice Gorsuch, because it was the peculiar province of the judiciary to safeguard life, liberty, and property. Due process often meant judicial process. So the PSBA is not a judicial entity, so they cannot oversee due process and removal of officers. I mean, that could really come against all of you, to be honest, because it's not a true judicial process. So this is for
She
your
is correct.
protection. Okay, I'm going to continue on with Justice Gorsuch here. One George Tucker Blackstone's commentaries that is, if the government sought to interfere with those rights, nothing less than the process and proceedings of the common law had to be observed before any such deprivation could take place. Joseph Story, Commentaries of the Constitution. In other words, due process of law generally implied and included a judge, regular allegations, opportunity to answer in a trial according to some settled course of judicial proceedings. So administrative tribunals are not judicial, and I would really urge the board members to do their due diligence before voting on this tonight. It can work both ways against, it doesn't matter which side, really. The law is about true equity, and that's what this is about. This is not about really sides. So I want you to take heed. Thank you.
And remember that, guys, administrative tribunals are
Thank
not judicial. And we have all these little, agencies all wanting to
Heather
act
Parrott?
as though they have, judicial authority when
Heather.
they do not. Oh, Lord help us. It's
Thank you.
hella, it's what it's
I just wanted to make a note that I saw on the personnel report that Ms. Undy, you're leaving at the end of June, and from one human resources professional to another, I just wanted to wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
She is part of the left wing mob. And every time I'm shocked that she was, so short today, so
And
brief.
it's time for board reports.
Here
Are there
comes the
any
board
reports
reports.
this evening?
I have the curriculum
Mrs. Cox?
committee met last night evening, and we discussed the selection of the curriculum management tool update. We're going to be using EduPlanet. Cost has already been budgeted. They're local. If anybody's interested in viewing what it will look like, our template, you can go on to Southwestern School District. They use that template right now. If you're interested to go on and see what it looks like. First year will be a little bit more pricey, but then it'll be less for the eventually. They'll have an annual cost every year after that, but it'll be less. But discuss the professional development planning, staff surveys and polling are done. Mr. Gay and the staff, they're working on creating a year-long professional development calendar. That will begin soon. We talked about the Cedar Cliff TSI. We talked about there still is one group that is in the TSI, and so they're going to be planning. They'll be bringing to us this summer a new proposal of what they're going to be working on next year at Cedar Cliff. There's also been an increase in EL students at both, well, they're going to be at Crossroads Middle School and Redland High School. So we're going to be looking for that also and what needs to be done in that area. Plans to identify the program for social and emotional skills at the secondary level was discussed. Questions were asked regarding the PA career ready skills, requirement of this by the state. And they're just
Now, in reference to the ESL, we do have a big flux of students now in the West Shore School District whose English is not their first language, okay? It's other languages from the countries they come from. And this is due to that migration that we had at the border. So this is going to take a chunk of our budget, okay, in order to get the resources that these young people need.
Will be for view back there.
And that's just for those textbooks, just for the 2 novels and the ELD series.
Right. And the ELD series is it's prep materials for the EL kiddos from grades 1 through 12. And we're hoping this will be covered with title funding. So we talked about the social studies and world language department. Then we discussed the proposed change of date for the June 11th meeting. And then Mr. Gay recognized our band and orchestra programs and the LCAP programs and the 2 programs that are going to be recognized by Shippensburg University. That was it.
Thank you.
Quick.
It's good. Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Gus White.
Did you have something, Mr. Cameron?
Real short.
Mr. Cambick.
I know Mr. Gusway will be thorough with his. All right. At the Cumberland Perry Technical and Career Center Joint Operating Committee meeting we had on February 24th, just to give you a couple highlights. We had a pre-bid meeting for the construction. where we had 3 electrical contractors, 3
Okay, so
plumbers,
Brenda Cox was
general
speaking about the
contractors,
curriculum, about some materials that they're trying to
and
bring
also
in.
black
Okay, so
tie
there is a
certificate
resource
applicants.
recommendation for middle school English and language arts.
There's
One
still
book of
testing
My
on
Side of the
programs
Mountain,
there.
that was
There's
published in
the hardware
1959,
girls
and
girls
Inside
and
Out
toddlers
and
is
Back
slowing
Again,
down and are hoping
published
it's
in
going to be finalized this
2011. Now,
year.
I took a look at this
And
material. This material is good
Mr.
and
Wolf
it is
was
sound.
here last
No
month and gave us a lot
inappropriateness
of
in it.
information that
And then we
we
have
had
the
again,
resource
so
for
I
the
won't go ahead and repeat that.
English language development grade 1
Contract
through 12. It's
negotiations
called
going on
Finish
right
Line
now
for
with
LS
the
2.0 from the
instructors
Continental
up
Press.
there.
If you are on our
Finalize
page,
it.
West Shore Parents United, you will see that I also put a
Mr.
YouTube
Gusway.
video in reference to that curriculum. And I took a look at it,
Yeah,
and
so I
everything
know
seems,
Dr. Stoltz has a prepared
everything seems
statement.
in place. Nothing,
He's going to read
egregious
it,
in
but
that
to just preface his statement
curriculum either.
regarding transportation, I know we've gotten a few emails already, and just want to say that up until this year, in the time that I've served on this board, we haven't had a transportation committee. We have a transportation committee now, and
Welcome, Christy Spangler.
we have been striving to improve the transportation of the district. It's one of those areas that touches everyone. We got to get our kids to and from school, and I've always been a proponent. If you think about the most critical time of the day in a student's school day, it's when they're going to and coming home from school, because they're not in a safe school environment. They're out on the road, on a bus, walking,
Okay, guys. So
what have
while
you.
Brian
And we want to make sure
Geiswhite
that
is trying
our
to
kids are
gaslight
getting
the
to and
community here, I'll
from
tell you what's
school
going on with the
as safely and
transportation.
as
The real
efficiently as
story.
possible.
Okay, basically,
So
transportation has been a mess
transportation, in my
in the
mind,
West Shore
is a
School
very
District.
important
Every
thing.
year we go through it. They
And
don't have
any
bus routes.
decision that we
Kids are
make in
not on bus routes.
transportation is not
Workers
unique.
are on the buses.
And this
People
committee
who are
has done,
supposed to
along with
be
the
on the bus are
administration,
walking. It's a hot mess.
we have done a
So
lot of work
they are going to be changing, to my
achieving
understanding, the
these
bus
goals
company that we are currently
our
using.
transportation more efficient and safe
And
as possible.
unfortunately,
And I
Mr.
just want
Sanders, that's the
folks to
one on
know
your left, first
that
seat,
any
let the
recommendations
cat
that
out
the
of the
board has
bag
already
before
done,
time. So
we
they're
spent a lot
going
of
with
time
a new
evaluating
company, and the
and
price tag for
have
the
put a lot of thought and
transportation
effort
is going to
into
be
the
$1
decisions
million.
that we make and the
Now,
recommendations that we
if
make
you do the
moving
math,
forward.
$1 million
And
sounds
this
like
is
a
one of
lot. It
those
really isn't when you have to
situations
pay
where
salaries and benefits.
the
So
committee's
basically, yes, they're
committee work
trying to
has been
rein
extremely
in the
valuable
transportation situation that we have in the West Shore School District.
and
Hopefully next year they'll get it together. Do I think they are? I doubt it, but that's
open it
to
up
be
to
seen.
Dr. Stoltz for his prepared statement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Geiswhite. As Mr. Geiswhite indicated earlier this year, the board formed a transportation committee dedicated to the support and success of student transportation.
And it's still a hot
It was
mess. I'll tell
determined
you that,
rather
folks.
quickly that the district would be developing a request for proposals, an RFP, for transportation services. First Student's initial contract had ended on June 30th, 2023, and primarily due to the construction and opening of the 2 intermediate schools and the large-scale changes that went with those projects, we opted to do 2 one-year extensions. We were overdue to ensure the district is receiving the best value and best service possible. After thorough development and review by the committee and administration, an RFP was released in late January with the intent to award a contract to a provider at the March 20th school board meeting. We developed and used a rubric to evaluate proposals on a variety of factors, including cost, staffing and driver retention, experience and references, fleet and equipment, safety standards and records, technology integration, and financial stability. We received proposals from 3 highly qualified vendors for evaluation, and we spent a lot of time reviewing those, as Mr. Geiswhite said, those proposals and understanding the benefits and costs of each proposal. The committee met twice for over 4 hours to review the responses to the RFP. The recommendation of the committee, which was not taken lightly, was to pursue a contract with Roar. While more expensive than our current provider, Roar had the most detailed plan for making a transition. That disruption and transition is massively important. The
You know,
transparency with which they approached the RFP process gave the committee confidence that the costs shown were
the
accurate,
thing is that,
dependable,
if we're
and
going to
provides
be
West Shore
honest
with the
about
best value
this,
of the
and here it goes
proposals
the
we
taco
received.
eating dragon
We
gaslighting the
cannot
community.
overstate our appreciation for
The
drivers'
bus
commitment
company
and
that we
service to
have
the
right
district.
now, we're
As we
already
have said
having, and
previously, the
knocking
first group of
heads
people who
with
a new
Tostos.
provider needs
They
to
don't
hire
like him.
are those who
He
are
bullies some
currently
of their
serving our
staff
district.
members, and they put
We
up with a
believe that
lot.
Roar is
Okay, they
committed to
really put up with
onboarding
with a
existing
lot.
drivers,
This
and
year,
to that end,
the bus
pending board
kerfuffle was
approval at
the
next
source of
week's
that bus
meeting,
kerfuffle
Roar
was
will
Mr.
hold a meeting on
Sanders
the evening
because
of March
he doesn't
26th
know how to
to
use the
meet with
software when
existing drivers who
provided to
may
do a
want to
bus
stay with the
route.
district
He went rogue,
and
did
for
his own
potential
thing, and
new
that was a
employees
hot
thinking of
mess.
joining the team.
So
We know the
they need
relationships
to
formed
get a
between
new
drivers and
bus
students and their
company,
families are
because
important.
especially with this
Throughout the
administrator that we
last week,
have,
the cost of
the
proposals has been raised.
relationship between
The
the bus
RFP
company
noted
and
that
this
the lowest cost
administrator
proposal may
has
not
been
represent the best
strained for
value.
a while
The
now.
base cost of proposals is not a clear cost of the operation, as there are numerous cost-related factors that were considered, such as state subsidy, overage costs, credits for use of our terminal,
And that
technology,
all
and
may
other
well be
efficiencies.
true, but parents need to know
Additionally, there
what's
are other
really
factors
happening in
that
the
have a
background. Come
cost
on now.
but are not easily measured, such as late arrivals, early dismissals, and runs or trips that need to be given to other providers, which
And
can
that
all be
was not
related to
the
staffing
fault, or
levels.
everything that he's saying right
Based on
now was
references, we
not the
believe Roar's
fault of the
investment in
bus
equipment,
company. It was the
experience
fault
in
of
identifying
administration,
efficiencies, and ability to
specifically
recruit and retain
Sanders.
drivers will
This
result in
is
the
why
best
after
value
his
for the district.
kerfuffle,
So with
okay,
that, a
is that
little
they
bit of a
created the
preview to my
transportation
normal
committee
review of the March
to
20th
try to
board
clean up
agenda.
the mess that he
The
left
board
us
will
in.
see the committee and the administration's recommendation for an agreement to be approved next week with Roar for transportation services.
Thank you.
Do any board members, is there any other questions or things that we might answer?
No, Dr. Stoltz and I have talked about this all week for hours, and Mrs. Davis has done the same. I think all of us have been very involved in this process, so I don't have anything to add.
And if you
Again, $1
indulge me,
million,
I just want to
folks, sounds like a
communicate that I
lot,
think
but
some
you
of the
have to put
fears that are
everything in
out there, I've
perspective.
heard two sets of
That's the
fears about this.
overhead, and
One,
you have salaries to
I
pay,
think
and you
relative to
have
drivers and
insurance if
employees
they
who are
offer
affected,
insurance to
and
pay.
that is to
So
say,
everything comes
I think
into
it is our
play.
combined intent that
They
anybody who
are
wants to
charging an
stay on and
awful lot,
continue to
because
do
I
that
did my
job
own
is going to have
research,
every
and by
opportunity
the
to do
most
so.
part, bus
The second thing
companies
is, and
charge
it's
between
part of why I talked about parent
150
relationships,
to, I think
drivers and
I read,
parents
if
and
I am
students
correct, from
have
150
unique
to
relationships with one
like
another,
300 or four
particularly
hundred
those that are
dollars
van
per
drivers,
day. So you
and the
do the math. I
relationships
mean,
that
it
they have
is a
in
lot,
transporting
but at
students.
this
While I
point,
can't
what else do we
guarantee that,
have?
the
The
driver
relationship
today
with the
is
current bus
absolutely going to be the
company and the
driver next year,
administration has been
it's our
strained for a
intent
while.
again
Okay,
that
and this is
those
why we're in the
relationships
mess
stay
that we are.
intact, and we would hope that folks would stay on.
When I heard the $1 million
Mrs.
bill,
Cooney.
I said, "What are we in New
I
York
did not
City?"
participate in the
But
committee
listen,
because there
our
were
kids
other
need
very, very
transportation.
capable people in the committee, but I've
Oh, there's nothing that
watched you
she
all
can do.
along.
There's
I've
nothing that she
watched
can do in
some
that committee
online. I
outside
have
mess
read
stuff up and argue
all
with
of
people.
the
Come on now.
information that was provided to us. And I just want to express a debt of gratitude to the committee, the administration,
Christy,
the
do you have
RFP
your violin?
process. I think we have come to a very well supported decision that is well documented. And I'm grateful for grateful for that effort.
Mrs. Thomas has a board report. Sorry
Yes.
about that.
I'm sorry, I forgot. My meeting for YAA was actually canceled in February. And I just wanted to give an update. We're utilizing 10 of our 12 seats. So we still have 2 available. So thank you for Dr. Butt for,
And I don't know if that was the difference. I think we are up to 12. I think there were maybe, I had a conversation. Yeah, I think we're up to the 12. There were 2 students or 3 that I think we were trying to work out transportation
yeah, I
with.
just looked at my email
Yeah.
as of Friday, or the one that I had gotten from Mrs. Ackerman.
Yep. But yes,
I'm glad that we're utilizing
Dr. Budd and the school staff have put together, we were clear in saying we wanted to fill our slots, and I think they've done a good job in identifying kids to benefit, who can benefit from that program.
Well, folks, we will know if they did a great job or not, or a good job. And I would think more it's the bus company than this administration. Come the first day of school next year, that's when
Mr.
everything
Brinton.
is going to
I was
really,
just going to say,
reveal
if we
itself.
had closed out the piece on the transportation RFP before we went on to back to the board report. That's all.
Any other board reports?
I have a question. Does Abigail Tierney know the definition of a
We're gonna
woman
move on
yet?
to business items.
Can we ask that?
A reminder to please remain quiet as the board deliberates.
I'm gonna try
and
to be
takes care
quiet,
of meeting
guys.
business. Personnel, Mrs. Davis.
Madam President, I move that we approve the following personnel agenda items, item 5A1 through item 5A14.
Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion? This will be considered a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 9-0.
We've hired a number of new staff, both professional and support, this evening. Is there anyone that is newly hired here this evening?
Welcome.
God be with them. Let us pray for them.
Not newly hired. I'm 25 years in the district, but you've just voted me in to be the new principal of Cedar Cliff High School, and I just want to take this opportunity.
Oh,
to
that's the
thank
new
you,
principal of Cedar Cliff High
and show my
School.
appreciation for me.
I
This
am
book has
so
come and gone
excited.
quite a bit because I spent 19 years at Cedar Cliff, so I'm very excited to lead Cedar Cliff into its next chapter. And I just want to say I'm so deeply grateful for the support of the administration and the board. And I'm very nervous at this point, if you can't tell, but I'm deeply committed to Cedar Cliff and continuing its tradition of excellence. And just please know
No, you
my
need to
door is
get it
always
back
open,
to
and you are more
excellence.
than
The
welcome to
tradition of
come to
excellence is
Cedar Cliff
gone,
anytime
honey.
next
You
year.
need to get them back to excellence, okay? I'm
Thank you very
praying for
much.
you, and I'm trusting that she's going to take Cedar Cliff right back to where it belongs, to excellence.
Ms. Post, I've known you for 19 years.
That's scary. She
And
knows him for 19 years.
I just want to say, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy that you are in this position now. I was a big fan of you taking over New Cumberland Middle School, and I've seen the work you did down there. You
Mrs.
turned
Post,
that
do not
building
take any
around.
advice from this
You
man.
and Mr.
Do not
Jahanski
take
worked
any
very well
advice
together,
from Abigail
and
Tierney,
I know
from
you have
Adam Trong,
really
and
big
much
shoes
less
to fill
Guys
there.
White, nor
And
the
I'm
taco
confident
breathing,
you're going to do a fantastic
dragon
job
hair
there too.
stoves. I
I've known you, I've
understand
seen you
that he
work,
is the
and I know you're the
superintendent,
right
the
person for
question,
this job.
everything, and
So thank you.
please bring
Thank
Cedar
you.
Cliff back to scholastic excellence. We are trusting you, and we are rooting for you.
Mr. Brinton.
Hi, I'm Dave Britton. I'm a Redland grad, and I'm glad you got the position. I've heard very good things about you. I think you have your work cut out for you, but I wish you the best of luck.
New Cumberland was good training wheels.
That's my alma mater, and they're going to put away. They did away with Fairview, and then they're going to do away with the Cumberland. So. But best of luck to you. I've heard a lot of great things about you.
Anyone else?
In all fairness, I have heard a lot of good things about her, folks.
Thank you again.
So I'm looking forward to see where she's taking
Mrs.
Cedar
Brent,
Cliff
before
next.
you move on, I would
Hopefully
just
out of
be
the ditch.
remiss if I didn't extend part of comments from Mrs. Keller this evening to just say, tonight we approved Mrs. Unti's resignation, and it's not too late. We
So Mrs.
we have
Auntie
ways
is
in
the
which we
lady
can
on the
work
right
around
with the
that.
black
That's right. We will
vest.
certainly entertain
She
it.
has
I'll
been
move to
working
reconsider
for
the
the
vote.
HR department. I
I
can never remember her name. It is
I
Mrs.
think
Auntie.
myself and on behalf of the people who work with you, we're grateful for the things that you have done in the time that we've had you. We wish
Mrs.
we would have
Auntie,
you longer. And
we
if
are appreciative
things
of
don't work
everything
out
you did.
there
We the
in the
parents.
next endeavor,
And my last word of advice to you is run
just on
and
a
go and
note,
enjoy your
I think that,
retirement or
Mrs.
new job or
Auntie
whatever,
has
new
accomplished
chapter
her
there is
time
in your
with us.
life.
I think she has been very we're grateful for the efficiencies that I think that she has brought to the Human Resources Department and the district as a whole, and streamlining processes. The hiring process can be very lengthy and
Word
tricky,
salad,
and especially in
word
education with some
salad,
of the things that are required.
word
And
salad,
she, over her
word
time here, found
salad.
ways to expedite things
What are
and,
the ingredients
while
of a
not
word
cutting
salad?
corners
Well,
or
you're hearing
jeopardizing
it right
anything in that
now.
process. So we're going to miss you greatly, and we wish you the best as you go on. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mrs. Auntie.
5B,
Run.
2025-26 Capital Area Intermediate Unit General Operating Budget. Dr. Argot.
Thank you, Madam President. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of School Directors approves the Capital Area Intermediate Unit 2025-2026 General Operating Budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. This will be considered a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 9-0. Dr. Argot,
Would you like me to take all the policies?
maybe let's do them one at a time.
Okay. This evening, we have a number of policies that we'll work our way through. Ultimately, it is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of School Directors approves revised Board Policy 005 and submits it to PSBA to be placed in Board Policy Manual format. If I may clarify, the reference to PSBA, I think there was a little confusion there. Yes, we use PSBA
Oh,
material, but it was
no.
PSBA materials referring us to a recent court case that had, that's actually what the reference is to, and the
So now he's
hearing
trying to
process will go
contradict
through.
Denise. No,
PSBA was
Denise
not
was
the
absolutely correct.
hearing. They were just where we get some background research on.
Gaslighting.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Gaslighting.
So moved.
Second it.
Do we have any discussion regarding Board Policy 005 organization? No? Okay. This will be considered a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted.
And they passed it.
9-0.
They
Thank you.
passed it, but it's going to come to bite them in the behind. They'll see that. They will see
Next
that.
item, Dr. Argot.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of School Directors approves revised Board Policy 202 and authorizes submittal to be placed in Board Policy Manual format.
Is there any discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Yep, thank you. No discussion? Okay. This will
It's
be
going to
considered
bite
a
them
roll
in the
call vote.
butt.
All members will be
Remember,
recorded as
guys,
voting in favor
administrative
unless
tribunals
otherwise
are not
noted.
judicial, and neither is
Motion
the
passes 9-0.
PSBA.
It is also the recommendation of administration that the Board of School Directors approves revised Board Policy 320, freedom of speech in non-school setting, and authorizes submittal to PSBA to be placed in Board Policy Manual format.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ooh, we approving everything today. Approve,
Do we
approve,
have any discussion?
approve. And this is for freedom of speech for the staff members in non-school meeting
This will be
settings.
considered a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 9-0.
So they just passed the
It is the
PSBA,
recommendation
okay,
of administration that
policies.
the Board of School Directors approves revised Board Policy 607, tuition income, and authorizes submittal to PSBA to be placed in Board Policy Manual format.
Now that tuition income is for kids that are trying to come from other districts into our district.
Do we have any discussion regarding 607?
Approved.
This will be considered a
course.
roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 9-0.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of School Directors approves new Board Policy 816, District Social Media, and authorizes submittal to PSBA to be placed in Board Policy Manual format.
Motion to approve. Or I'll second.
Okay, perfect.
So
One
are
of
they
those.
approving to
So, Davis,
submit
I'll let you
social
say-
media posts
Go
to
ahead.
the PSBA? Am I reading that
Motion to
correct?
approve.
And I will second it.
Is there discussion? No discussion on 816? Okay. This will be considered a roll call vote. All members will be recorded as voting in favor unless otherwise noted. Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you.
Approve, 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 approve.
Is there a motion to approve? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm good. Whoops. It's early. Information items. Review of March 20th agenda. Dr. Stoltz.
Thank you, Mrs. President. As was mentioned a couple of times this week and here tonight, next week we will have the students whose, for Youth Art Month, the students whose pieces have been selected for billboards and are now, according to Mr. Long, all 18 boards in the area. One, I
If you
believe, is
guys want to see
physically
any of these
located within the
policies that have
district,
been
and he tells
approved,
me it's over on
please go
Market
to the
Street
West Shore
near the
Parents
market,
United Facebook
the morning
page.
market.
I posted each and every
But
one of
all
them.
of the
Read them
during
at your
Youth Art
leisure,
Month,
and you'll see
Lamar
what
is
we're
a
speaking
great
about.
partner for
But
this, and
for
we have
Brian
lots of
R.
other
got to try
great
to insinuate
company
that
sponsors. You're going to see the presentation next
what
week,
Denise Dugan said
and
was
you're going to
incorrect.
be out
No,
here next week.
Ryan
Yes,
Argot is
Mr. Long?
incorrect, because this is a
And will
group of
be
people that
invited out.
continue
And
to
then later
ignore
on,
the
in
Constitution,
sometimes
our
months
constitutional
afterwards,
rights,
when the
okay,
billboards come down,
the
kids
protections offered
actually
to us
get
by
their
the
billboard.
Constitution.
So
And
it's
these
very
little
cool.
entities are
So
not judicial
we'll be
entities.
recognizing those
Okay,
students
so do
next
your
week.
homework, people, because there's a
Long.
lot of gaslighting going on. And having the PSBA so involved in our district is not a good thing. Okay, they are politicized. Okay, they will bring the candidates that they want, and they will continue to infiltrate junk
Under
into
the
our
business
schools.
items, right now we have a short personnel agenda, but I'm sure that we'll have some additions to that. Typical items that at the second meeting for the month, we'll have the bills for approval. We will have just one budgetary transfer at this point. We have a transfer to the general fund assigned fund balance that I'm going to ask Mrs. Boone to speak to here briefly. It was mentioned at the Finance Committee today, but Mrs. Boone, do you want to speak to that item?
Sure, thank you. Like Dr. Stoltz mentioned, we discussed this in Finance Committee tonight as well as last month, but we were having conversation about transferring money into capital reserve and if there's a possibility of another option to transfer money elsewhere to kind of hold on to for unknown things that come up. So we recently sold our trash truck. So we have approximately $112,000 from the sale of that coming to us. That was basically
Well, we sold our
revenue
trash
that we
truck.
weren't
That's great. Did we
anticipating to
we
receive.
also sell
So we
our
are recommending that we
trash
transfer those
literature
monies
in our
into an
libraries?
assigned fund balance as part of the general fund so that we can use
That should
that
have gone with the
money
truck.
for the future for any kind of purchases of equipment needs that we may have, whether that is for Chromebooks or a maintenance truck or lawnmowers or even textbooks. We cannot purchase equipment items out of the capital reserve fund. So that's why we need to keep that money earmarked in the general fund. And like mentioned tonight in Finance Committee, one of the strategies during budget time when we are trying to reduce our budget deficit is to always cut those kind of items out of our budget. So Mr. Sanders has already gone through the 25-26 budget and removed some of those larger equipment purchases to help with our budget deficit. So setting some
Oh
money
Lord,
aside right
they're
now will
trusting
help
Sanders.
to
Help us
fund
all.
those one-time purchases in the future.
And I have just a quick clarifying question on that. So, and I didn't ask this in Finance Committee, but just for the general public. So when you transfer that to the general fund balance as an assigned amount, that doesn't count towards our 8% unassigned fund balance requirement or restriction by the state.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Setting it aside in an assigned fund balance keeps it out of your unassigned fund balance. And your unassigned fund balance is where we have to stay at that 8% cap.
Moving down the business items next week, Earlier this year, we approved a memorandum of understanding for services related to migrant education for students that might be considered migrant for Cumberland County, and we did not have a partner in York County. We now have a partner in Northwest Tri-County Intermediate Unit to provide those services. So we'll have a memorandum of understanding in the event that we need those services. Currently, we do not have any students in York County that meet that definition, but this is, if that were to change, we have an agreement in place with a provider. We'll have staff attendance at professional meetings as we normally do. There is an item on E-rate approvals, and for those of you that, and I may have to defer to either Mr. Sanders or to Mr. Vogelsong here, but E-rate funds are federal funds that come through that help us support things like infrastructure, technological needs, those kinds of things that we qualify for and can use. Wireless access points, licensing, switches, these are funds that help pay for those costs. If you were to look ahead at next week's agenda, you won't see cost information in there. Mr. Vogelsong is still working through the bid responses to that, and we'll populate those before next week. So again, these are purchases that the district will make, but it's covered by E-rate funding, and therefore is not coming out of pocket, if you will. As I mentioned earlier, we will have a contract for transportation services. That contract is in the finalization process. That is currently being reviewed by, I think it's still with Tucker Aaronsburg, but then we'll go back to Roar, as I mentioned, and we expect that will be done.
Hopefully they'll get this right. Hopefully they wouldn't let, they won't let this in the hands of
then
of
I've
this
got
guy Sanders again.
two additional items, Mrs. Brent. You ask me about these regularly. So the first item will be related to professional services for the Redland campus improvements. That is there will be an agreement for professional design services through Turf Track and Court. And again, that is an agreement that is in the hands of Tucker Aaronsburg, and they've assured us that we'll have that back and ready to go for next week. And then there are engineering services with Pantera, which is related to the Redland campus improvements to do the civil engineering parts of that. And those are the business items. Mr. Sanders, anything to add to either of those last two? For those that have, sort of been paying attention and along the way, those two, the commitment to those design services then also get us to a point where we can start to zero in on what a scope and what a cost associated with a scope for campus improvements up there, i.e. a field, and then we'll see where that starts to take us. So on a related note, that's not about the business items, but if you navigate out to the Redland Instagram page, there was some aerial drone footage of the improvements that have been going on. So yeah, Mr. Champion, one of our teachers and students, took that footage. And so it shows an overhead of where the bus loop is. Probably the most notable thing there, other than some new sidewalk, are the red bollards that are there. But the aerial, I think, gives you a good sense of just where there was a guide rail along there and there was a tree, and now you actually get some viewing space as a result of that. The other, I think it's a separate video that's also posted, is drone footage over where the hitting facility is. And so, you have said on a number of occasions, what does $1 million get you? It starts to give you some sense of what that gets you.
Well, they will know what
the
$1 million
hitting
get us, because we're
facility is,
$15.1 million in debt, are we not?
it is occupied.
Yeah. So we had review with the township. They went through the codes. They made a determination and said we are good to go to start using that facility. So there's still some interior work doing, but they are in the facility now.
And I think the baseball team left for their trip.
The softball team was using it the other night.
Yeah. So they're
Words
excited.
salad.
That's been a long time project in the making. And I just want to give a shout out to the Capital Campaign Committee, who has done a lot of work and effort there, not only to raise money, but to keep that project moving. And a lot of the coordination efforts. Shout out to Mr. Sanders and Mr. Glantz and Mrs. Herbert, certainly on our side of things. But there's an outside group here, and in particular, Lobar has been a good partner in this.
I was going to mention Ken Elder from Lobar, and it donated a lot of time and effort in assisting with that project. So he deserves a special mention there.
Yeah. So that's what the agenda looks like for next week. And then
Wow,
I
that's a
should
lot of
mention
words.
under the information items, this was mentioned at Finance Committee. March is usually a big budget presentation for us. So Mrs. Boone has a budget presentation prepared. We probably had some discussion right at the end of the meeting that I think might be helpful to the two of us and the team as we look into next week. And I would just tell the group as a whole here, if you were present for the Finance Committee meeting, great. If not, you may want to go back and take a look at the materials that are posted and also the discussion. We've got some work to do here in the next couple of weeks around budget and make some decisions as to where we go. So that's all I have for next week.
Thank you. Dr. Argot?
Thank you, Madam President. We have 3 policies this evening that have been through administration, have gone through the board policy committee discussions, have been through legal counsel, that we're sharing with you as the full board and the community tonight, with the hope that we bring them back in April for ratification.
Thank you. Mr. Gay?
Thank you so much. We have made available for public review, and Ms. Cox referenced it, a couple of resources that we're looking to have approval for eventually from our board. So you will see copies of Gene George's My Side of the Mountains, Lies, I didn't grab the title of the book, but it's over there, and and a series for ELD, WIDA prep materials. All of those materials are on the table over there. They'll be available for 30 days for public review prior to this meeting next month, when we'll present it for approval for the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Brent?
Mrs. Thomas?
Mr. Gay, how would a parent, if they wanted to review those materials, what are the process to that,
There's
sir?
2 different ways to do that. With the series, they would simply come to the district office during working hours.
You will need to
Our
pray, because once you make the
receptionist
request, they're going to
contacts
deny
someone from
the
the instruction
request
department,
for
would come
you to
down
see
and bring it to the
curriculum and
chairs, and
material
review those.
as long as they
2
can.
novels, someone could go to the library and check them out if they didn't want to look at them while here. There are copies, but they could go to a
Now,
public
I did
library
check
to
those 2 novels that they're trying to introduce, and they are fine.
We put the
There's
names
nothing
of those
improper
somewhere,
with it.
so the one that you didn't have
They're in the minutes.
in the minutes. Okay.
There, it's actually on the information items for tonight's agenda.
Okay. I meant for somebody who's listening.
Oh,
to the meeting.
yes. Give me 1 second. I'll read them. I just
What were you looking for? The title or
titles. Yep.
Right. For the
Yeah.
people who are listening.
My Side of the Mountain? The author's name is, it's by George. Inside Out and Back Again.
Thank you.
By, last name is Lai,
It's Lai.
Lai,
Vietnamese.
Lai.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the series is called Finish Line for L's 2.0, and it's for grades 1 through 12. So there's a sampling of those resource materials. They're consumable workbook style materials.
Thank you very much.
And Mrs. Brent, just about the special ed plan that is posted there. Initially, I sent all of you a copy of the special ed plan. I will be resending you an updated version. There were 2 rooms at Redland that were removed. It's right on the site and all of those things, but it's different than the initial one that I sent you. But that's the only change as I send it to you.
there's also a copy of the special ed plan printed for review. It's in a binder over there. Same process. If someone wanted to review them, we just ask them to come during business hours. Receptionists will contact someone from the instructional department and we'll come down and help them review those materials.
Great, thank you very much. And now we have recognition of the public general items.
Here we go, the public speaking. Brace yourself.
Okay, great, thank you. Same rules, 4 minutes. Please give your consideration. Thank you. Kaori Lynn Wolf. Did I get that right? Hi, nice to see you again.
Hi, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to address you on an issue that is critical to the safety and well-being of some of the most vulnerable members of our school community. To begin, I'd like to clarify the concept of gender identity. The term gender is broad and encompasses various related things, such as gender roles, gender role preferences, gender schemas, and gender concepts. Although sex is sometimes used in place of gender, the two are distinct. Over time, scholars and practitioners have debated whether gender identity is primarily a product of internal consciousness or shaped by external influences and life experiences.
No, it's not. Sorry, this is
Regardless
JD
of
hopping
these
back
debates,
in
it is clear
here,
that gender
just
identity
watching from
and
the
its
other side. I'm
evolution
still
begins
letting
in
Mariana
childhood.
run this, but no,
With this understanding in place,
no, it's
I
not.
turn to the importance of
No, it
protecting our
doesn't.
transgender students.
No, it's not.
I wish to address the
Gender
serious
refers
concerns
to your
associated with
sex,
restricted
what you
bathroom
were born with,
policies.
what you
For
were born
example,
with.
a 2019
It has to do with your
study involving
chromosomes, not
3,700
anything
teenagers
else
aged 13 to
in the
17
world.
found that 36% of these
Just
students reported
chromosomes.
experiencing sexual assault in the past 12 months under policies that
Mariana, I
restricted
turn it back
bathroom
over to you.
access. In contrast, a survey
I
conducted the
endorse
same
what
year
Jonathan
with
just
teens
said.
whose gender
100%.
identity aligned with their sex assigned at birth reported significantly lower sexual assault, 19% overall, with 15% of females and 4% of males affected. Furthermore, individual cases highlight the severe consequences of these restrictive policies. Consider the tragic case of Next Benedict, a transgender boy who, after experiencing repeated harassment and assault in a restricted bathroom, ultimately took his life. Or the case of Cobalt Servain, a transgender girl who suffered a broken jaw following an assault in a restricted bathroom. Even though laws have been enacted with the stated goal of protecting women, data from the Williams Institute suggests that forcing transgender individuals
This is
into
what
physical
happens when we indoctrinate our
practice
children,
absolutely unsafe
okay, and
for
our
anyone.
children are
When we
parroting,
actually look deeper into our
okay,
fears,
what
they're
this
rooted in the
culture
horrifying
is
stories we hear of predatory,
promoting. It is a
cisgendered,
shame
straight
that
males
our
exploiting the use
children
of
do
bathroom
not know
policies with ill intent.
biology. It's funny, for a while you heard the
women
saying,
to
follow the
use the bathroom
science.
that
Well,
aligns
the
with their
science says that you're either born male
I
or
urge the board
female.
to think about the
Okay,
consequences of
there
enacting
is
a
gender
policy regarding
confusion and it
restricted
is running
bathrooms,
rampant at
not
the
only
West
to
Shore School
safeguard the
District.
physical and mental
And this
well-being of our
is case
transgender
in point.
students, but
Case in point right
also
here.
to make sure our practices are rooted in evidence and respect for every individual. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for coming.
Madam President, we had one
Please keep
electronic
that young
submission for a
lady in
general
your
item.
prayers.
That was from Mrs. Marty Burt, who expressed concerns related to board candidates and community members making disparaging comments about sitting board members. These comments were shared with the board in advance of the meeting. And we have a number of in-person.
Okay. Kenneth Akon. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Ken Akon. I've been a resident of the district for 23 years. I'm a Navy veteran and worked at 3 Mile Island for 35 years. Both my children graduated from Redland High School, where me and my wife were band parents and you understand what that means as far as volunteering goes. Anyhow, which brings me to why I'm here today. I recently retired and was hoping to be able to volunteer at the high school, but whenever I inquired about volunteering, I was told that there was no such program. And that the only ones that they did have were in elementary school, mostly for like class moms. I got in touch with one of my children's old teachers and explained about wanting to volunteer through the school email. She said she'd pass around word to her other contacts at schools about me wanting to assist, but I haven't heard back. Okay. I'm not going to go into big detail on this, but I did some research, and around the country, there are programs for adult volunteers to work in schools, and everything from mentors, helping with administrative tasks, and even aides in the schoolroom. So we hear that teachers need help. I can believe that, and all I want to do is help. So if we could look into making some kind of program, because I think there's a untapped group of people out there like me who are retired now and want to help kids get through this world, that to help teachers and help the kids. And if we could look into doing something like that, I think that would help everyone. Thank you for your time. And I hope
I
we can
agree with
come
him, but I
to a
also believe that the church, the true
very
church
much.
of God, needs to
Sir, if
get
it's
involved,
okay, I'll
stand
follow up
up,
with you after
and
the
find a
meeting.
way of
There
helping
are
our
opportunities for you
community
to volunteer.
and these children that
Absolutely.
are
Yep.
lost
Thank you.
in this confusion that have been imposed on them.
No, I was just going to say, I know there's opportunities like junior achievement. They're always looking for junior achievement
And
instructors,
remember, we need
programs
a
in
strong
the middle
conservative
school.
voice on
I don't
this
know
board.
how many programs
So
they have
for
for high schools,
Region
but I
3,
know there's
we have
opportunities
Brian
out there
Geiswright running
if you're
and
really
Sandra
interested.
Gonzalez.
And I was going to ask you if you
I
had
will implore the
your
parents to
first
vote for
driver's license,
Mrs.
you'd be
Sandra
interested in driving
Gonzalez
these.
for school board
That might be a
director
stretch.
at Region 3. We need to clean up the West Shore School District. As you can see, our children are confused, our children are indoctrinated, and we need to bring scholastic excellence back to our schools because the
Joey Astley.
PSSA scores were pathetic.
Welcome, Joey.
Help
Hi.
us, Lord.
So I wanted to come with a shout out this week. This month, really, the last 2 weeks or so, Newberry's second grade classes have been going to the natatorium for their pool unit for PE. Let me say, I have a high energy child. I have loved having a tired kid come home from school. It's been the best part of it. It's like summer during the cold months. So, first of all, thank you that you allow that opportunity for me. And just he's been so excited about it when he comes home and the things he gets to do. And I did ask if he wanted me to share anything because I wanted to come up and just recognize how much I appreciate the entire district and Newberry for participating in this kind of thing. And he said that he wanted everyone to know that he really likes that they have flippers. And he would really it would make him very happy if all of the other kids in the district could get to learn to do these things at the natatorium as well. So I also think that speaks to the power and influence of your Character Strong curriculum, because my child has loads of empathy for the students he hasn't even met yet. And so
Character strong, and this is something else that they
Thank
push.
you.
I mean, empathy and teaching your kid to be a good citizen falls under the jurisdiction of the parent,
Andrew
not the state,
Powman?
not the school.
Bowman, so sorry.
Don't worry, I can't write.
It's okay.
Also, this is going to sound rather familiar.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. For some time now, you, the board, have been asked to take up a proposal requesting that the district enforce a strict policy requiring students to only use restrooms that match the sex they were assigned at birth. Advocates of this policy have framed it as an imperative measure that needs to be taken to protect children from sexual assault from predators who take advantage of the tolerance to just shift their gender at will and walk in to get close to victims. The sexual safety of children is a goal we all strive for, and I felt after the last meeting compelled to do research into the topic, looking for academic sources where the writers sought out answers through observation and evidence rather than just justifying a pre-existing viewpoint through rhetoric. In my multiple hours of research, two such studies stood out, which I've submitted to the board alongside my public comment form. The first one comes from a team of researchers at the Williams Institute at UCLA who wanted to know if gender-based bathroom policies achieve the desired result of reducing overall sexual assault rates. They did this by analyzing public records of criminal incident reports related to assault, sex crimes, and voyeurism in public restrooms, locker rooms, and dressing rooms from schools in Massachusetts with and without gender-inclusive bathroom policies. They found no difference in the rate between the two groups of schools, and found that even in the highest case, the rate of these incidents was about 4.5 incidents per 100,000 students. Okay, this is not a major crisis rolling through schools across the country. The second study comes from the Harvard School of Public Health, who used survey data from over 3,700 transgender and non-binary adolescents
Mary,
in grades
I
7
decided
through
to come back
12
again.
to get an idea of how gender-based
4
bathroom
out of
policies affect the sexual
100,000
safety of those
is
individuals.
too many.
This method addresses a flaw in the other
Exactly.
study, which by taking the
4
totals was
sexual
mostly measuring
assaults
how
is
these
too
policies affected
many.
cisgender
When you're
individuals.
talking
One
about
is too
rather-
many.
You're damn right it is.
It was not
That's
adept
ridiculous.
at detecting any
Bullshit.
changes
I
that
can't
did
believe
not
it.
affect
People that get up
cisgender
here and
students.
spew their shit
In a study of
because
the
they
4
do
categories of
research
gender
into things
non-conforming
from
students analyzed,
Massachusetts.
researchers found that
Yeah.
3 of them had an
Yep.
increased risk
But
of
I-
sexual
I'll-
assault in schools with gender-based bathroom
countrywide.
policies, with the risk of sexual assault increasing
I'll
by a
bet you
factor of
anything,
1 to
Jonathan, that
50%,
this
depending on the
these
exact
people that are
demographic.
speaking probably
Taken together, these
received
two
an
studies,
email from
which were the
Abigail
best
Trini
examples I
asking
could
them to
find
come
of
out,
nonpartisan,
as this is part
evidence-based
of the
initiatives to objectively
aftermath
answer the
of
question
what
of whether
Casey said.
gender-based
I was
bathroom policies
expecting this,
actually
and here
protect
you
people.
go. You were
Strongly
only
suggest that the
born
proposed bathroom policy
male
would
or
not deliver
female.
on its promise
Okay,
to protect
that is
children from
determined
sexual
at
assault,
birth.
and would,
These
in
people have
fact,
gender
only serve to
confusion. They
increase the
don't
risk
know
of sexual
science, and
assault
they
for
don't
certain
know
groups of children.
biology.
I do
What
not
we
believe
should be
anyone here would
referring
be in
them
support
to
of that, and I
is
implore the
to
board
go
not
get some
to do such
mental
a
health
policy.
therapy, because that's what they
Instead,
need.
I would like to advocate that we direct these concerns towards addressing why students feel uncomfortable in the bathroom,
I completely agree.
why they feel vulnerable. Measures like not having gaps in the walls or doors that have locks that don't immediately break when
let's
someone tries to
lock our
pull on the
students
door.
so that way when they
Maybe a
get
little bit of
when they're
noise
getting
proofing in the
assaulted,
walls,
let's
or
have the
having made
barriers all the way to
multiple
the floor,
exits,
and
or
let's have the
a
door
wider
locked,
exit so
so
someone
that way
can't
when
just
someone
block
is getting
the one
assaulted
doorway
in a
to the
stall,
bathroom. I
they
think that
can't
would
get out.
do a much better
But
job at
Jonathan, that comment
accomplishing
that he just made
this
indicates to me
goal
that
of
somebody in the board
protecting
is
children
feeding
in
him
these vulnerable
information.
positions.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because I have heard from people in the community that there's a member in our board letting them
Thank you
know
very
that what
much.
they're looking to do is a all-inclusive
Denise
bathroom,
Dugan?
but they will have the bathroom sealed on both sides, and that's what he just said. He wouldn't know that
Victoria
unless those
Madden?
rumors are true, that there is somebody in that board feeding them the information, sending them emails for them to come and speak.
Yeah, and that's just ridiculous. That's why the Boiling Point podcast, while we may endorse some people who are running, man,
First,
we're
I'd
not
like
getting
to
fed
say
inside
thank you
information.
on a
We're
personnel-
figuring this out on our
personnel
own.
realm.
Correct.
See Mr. Gay
Oh,
smiling.
And it's not
America's-
too
Thank
hard.
you
It's
for
not too
the
hard to figure it out.
coaches, for the lacrosse
Hold on,
team
America's
that
Tribune. We'll give them a shout out.
They started off last
America's
week in
Tribune is
practice and are
our
starting
fellow
off on the right
conservative
foot. Not that they weren't
outlets.
before, but they're all very excited to get busy. We got
Welcome.
3 games next week, so we're moving quick and fast. So thank you very much for getting.
Thanks for
those
tuning in,
passed,
Dave. Appreciate that.
On
Mariana's
the slate
taking the
to
lead
help our
on this
girls,
one. I'm
achieve
under the
excellent
weather,
this year
but
on
I've been
lacrosse.
listening in,
Second,
and sometimes
I'd like to
I've been having
address
to
the
put my
Sunshine
2
Act
cents in.
complaint that is still pending in the York County Court. This is the matter that addresses the actions by the board members that are believed to rise to the level of violating the Sunshine Act. by
Now
having
here we go with the violation of the
deliberations
Sunshine Act. Let's
outside
be clear here.
of
There was
the
no
board meeting
violation of the
when the
Sunshine
hiring
Act.
of the school board
This
is
is something that
Next
was
week, council hired to
concocted,
defend
okay, by
the
certain
complaint.
members of our
be
school
deposing
board, and
all
they
of the
know who they are,
that were
okay?
named previously during
So we
these
will be
board meetings.
speaking in another video, in another show
complaint speaks for
about this
itself, and the
Sunshine Act, and we
deposition
will
of
be
the
bringing
plaintiffs
forth some
is just a
truth,
fishing
because like I've been saying
expedition
for weeks,
that
rights
only
to
wastes
knows
yet
or
more
something.
district money
Okay.
and
And this
time.
is something
I
that has
ask
been
that you
formulated, something
reconsider
that has been
having
planned. They
this
did not
litigation
violate
drag
the
on and
Sunshine
go
Act,
back to
and
focusing
you
on
are
our students.
innocent until proven guilty. They
Thank
have
you.
not been convicted of anything.
Terry Mickle.
This is the person that's running against Kelly Brent, okay, in Region
Welcome.
2, and she is on the wrong side
Good
of
evening, board
everything. Just
members, Dr.
listen to her
Stoltz and
speak,
community.
guys.
My name is Terry Mickle, and tonight I'm here as a mom, an education professional.
This
and
is
a
our
citizen.
third favorite
Following
Boiling
this
Point
week's news
podcast
that nearly
fan at the
half
West
of
Shore
the
School
Department of
District.
Education workforce was eliminated, I am concerned and troubled at what that means for our district, our educators, and most importantly, our students. Some are framing this decision as increasing operating efficiency and giving education back to the states. But the reality is,
She's
it gives us
big
a
on
bigger
defending
burden.
the LGBTQ.
True local control
She's big on
requires
the all woke
resources,
agenda.
support, and
She
a
is for
functioning
bringing
partnership
pornography
between
to the
districts,
schools. And if you
states, and
speak
federal
against these books,
agencies,
okay,
not the dismantling of
because not only are they
critical
not age
infrastructure that
appropriate, they're just not
supports
appropriate
learners.
in any which way,
In
then
theory,
she
more
becomes
state
one of
control
the people
sounds appealing,
attacking you,
but in
calling
practice,
you a
eliminating
book banner.
federal
She
support
joins
does
that
not
little group
empower states
also.
to get burdens.
So this woman, you have to be
Federal
very careful.
education
She is
funding for
dangerous, and this
programs
is
like
what we're
Title
trying to
I,
clean the West
special
Shore School
education
District
oversight,
out
and
of.
accountability
Young
measures
ladies like this
exist
one.
to ensure that all students, no matter their zip code or their learning difference, will receive
She
a
sounds
quality
good.
education.
Okay, it's like I
Without
said,
this
a
partnership,
chocolate
states
spider,
and more
covered spider
specifically
looks good.
local school
Bite
districts
into it,
are
it's
left with
poison.
fewer
That's
resources
the
but
chocolate
the
covered
same
spider I've been talking
mandates
about.
to meet student needs. With fewer staff at the Department of Education, who will ensure funding for programs like Title I, special education, and school nutrition that reach it so that those payments reach
She is
districts in a
against
timely and
parental rights.
equitable fashion?
She is against
Who will provide
parental
guidance on
choice.
best practices for teacher training, protecting students, and
She's being
evidence-based
endorsed by Adam
interventions that help
Trung, and Adam
struggling
Trung
kids?
himself is questionable,
Without oversight,
especially when
the
he
disparity
accepted the
between wealthy and
endorsement of a
underfunded
Communist
districts
Party
will grow wider,
organization.
hurting the very students who need the most support. Shifting responsibility to the states without the structure, staff, and funding to support it doesn't
You are
create
absolutely right,
efficiency, it
Dave.
creates
There
chaos.
are a couple
We, the
weasels on the board
taxpayers,
here, and
may be forced to make up the difference.
that's what
leaving
I
Mariana
can
is
give you
trying
a
to do.
list of
confused
weasels.
between
You want me to give you a list of
cutting
weasels? I'll give it to you in English and Spanish. How about that? In both
This isn't
languages.
about
You'll
giving
love
us
me.
more control. It's about shifting the burden without giving us the tools to handle it. As school board members, you are on the front lines of this crisis. I urge you to push back against these harmful cuts, engage with state and federal representatives, and demand a clear plan for how our schools will be supported moving forward.
You don't need
Because
a
if I'm
plan
school
from the
board
federal
director,
and
parents and
state
community members should be asking this
to
of me.
guide
Education
anything.
is
This
not
is a
a
local
partisan
community.
issue.
There's a
It's a
reason that school
fundamental
boards are
right.
local, and that
Stripping
school boards,
resources under the guise of
the local
efficiency
school
and
board can
local
decide
control
what's best
doesn't
for their
help
school.
students,
It's
it
called
abandons
local.
them.
We have
And
three
our
branches of
students
government:
deserve better.
local, state, and federal. Local should stay local, and it should
Thank
not
you.
have to look to the state or the federal government for anything.
Aubrey Sheets.
They shouldn't have to. Sometimes they do, but they shouldn't have to.
You're correct.
Welcome.
Thank you. Please bear with me. I'm pretty sure my Redland teachers probably are going to verify I'm
not
any
sure if
better
she's a
prepared
parent.
speaker than I
The
was
previous
when I
woman,
graduated
Mariana,
law
does she have kids?
I
Good
believe she's
evening,
either a
West Shore School
parent or a
District board members,
grandparent. I do believe that
teachers,
she is.
students, parents, and neighbors.
Christy, if you're around,
My
is she
name
a
is Aubrey
parent? I believe she
Sheets.
is, right?
I am a bus driver with First Student West Shore Branch, a former building
Ah,
lead from New
uh-huh.
Cumberland and Highland Elementary, a volunteer with the West Shore Marching Band, Music Boosters, proud West Shore percussion mom, awesome win at regionals, and a tennis mom. And as of Monday, I became an unofficial spokesman for a small portion of our drivers as we share in the same concerns.
And she is
The
correct
reason I'm here tonight, speaking
about the
out,
drivers.
as Dr. Stoltz referenced, as well as the Transportation Committee, that next week there will be a decision made concerning the ownership of the next contract for our district's transportation needs. As it has been made known to us, drivers that over the past year or two have been operating under extensions to the First Student's prior contract. That being said, our 92 employees, consisting of 3 management personnel, 3 mechanics, 5 trip or casual drivers, 11 van drivers, and 68 bus drivers, have been made aware as of Monday that there have been 3 bid offers made for upcoming term contracts to the district. As some of the verbiage that was used earlier, it sounds like a decision has kind of already been made, although
Yes, it
I
has.
believe it's supposed to be accepted next week. That there is already a contract in the works with another company. We
Yes,
as
there is.
drivers, and I believe even our location management, are not fully aware of what has been included in First Student's bid, what it has been as a total, or for the services provided. We, however, have been informed that the other two bids that have been put on the table from Christ Transportation and Roar have come in at $500,000 higher and $1 million higher than the
Mhm.
First Student bid.
Correct.
Our concern, not only for the future of our individual employment statuses, provided that First Student is not chosen to continue providing the community that we live in with safe, consistent transportation for our children, but also the uncertainty of what will come with an outside provider entering our district. Will they defer or will they offer all of our drivers, our mechanics, and even our management team with the opportunity to continue driving for, working for, and serving this community that we love? Careers that wouldn't erase our years of experience, our hard work, dedication to that of a beginner driver. Do we know if this other company will guarantee that our pay will not be cut, that our year-long bidded routes such as kindergarten, VOTEC, building transfers, and life skills groups, as well as our weekly bidded trips for sports, swims, and our music programs will not be taken away? Will our 92 employees' collective hard-worked years of dedication be erased with the strike of a pen next week? What guarantees can the board provide to the single moms and dads, the retirees, the split income households that depend on the flexibility and consistency of our current positions with First Student? Drivers that have been living in and working in this district since well before First Student came into the picture. Drivers that have been driving since our buses proudly said the name West Shore School District on their sides. Will those drivers be protected if a change is made? Additionally, beyond our own employment, who will be paying for this additional expense if an additional $1 million a year contract is accepted? Or even if it's only $500,000? Every taxpayer in our district will be absorbing these increases either way. We will, as drivers, be eating this tax increase at the same time that we learn that we might no longer have a job, career,
Dave,
and labor
I'm
of
going to
love to
actually
return
push
to.
back against you on that
Members
comment
of the
right there.
Transportation
I don't.
Committee and West Shore
I
School
think that
Board,
if you
I
live,
humbly come
anybody
to
who
you as
lives
a
within the
parent,
school district who pays
as a bus
taxes
driver who
is
loves
allowed
every
to have
single
their
face
voice
that
heard.
comes on the steps of my
If
bus.
they're paying taxes, they're allowed
Even
to
if
have their
at
voice
times it's a
heard.
challenge to
So
like them.
I'm going to push back
I
at
come
you
seeking
on
some
that a little
answers,
bit, whether they got
or
parents
if
or
at the
not.
very
If they live in the
least to
school
provide
district,
things
they
for
have
you
a
to
right to
think
be
of
heard. They pay
as we
taxes.
enter into next week's board
So,
meeting.
and I don't have a kid, and I'm in this fight. So that's
Thank
the
you
other
very
reason
much.
that I would push back. I don't think having kids. I think having kids certainly gives you more of a should make your voice or what you say maybe matter a little bit more because it's for your children. But I don't think that
I'm
anybody
sorry,
who pays
I indicated, I'll
taxes is
follow up.
allowed to have their
Aubrey, if
voice
you stay,
heard.
I'll follow up
So
with you.
I would push back a little bit on that, whether they have children or not.
Aaliyah Kilty?
It shouldn't matter. I would also like to point out that they do this. The liberals do this here in the West Shore all the time. They're always the
Oh,
loudest.
constantly.
They're the smallest, but they are the
Welcome.
smallest group. They're just the
They have a
loudest. They
system
make the
in which
noise.
they email each other. They
Yeah, they're highly
communicate, they
organized.
email each other, and they come out in numbers.
You may or may
Yeah,
not
they're
know
highly
that over
organized.
the
That's the
past few
problem. That's
weeks,
the
our
only difference
district,
between the
well,
left and
central
the biggest
Pennsylvania,
difference between
our
the left and the
region,
right is, well,
has
there's
had
many,
hundreds
but
of
the left
refugee
can get
families
highly organized
resettle in our
and
area. Many of those
the
families
right
are in our
doesn't
district.
seem to be able to do it
They're
with the
wonderful
same
people.
efficiency, whether it's
They
because of
come from all over the
schedules,
world.
working.
They are just a delight to work with.
Well, it's because we work.
You may
We don't have
also
all the
may
free
or may
time that
not
the left
know
have in their
that
hands.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
the
we are more
Bridgeville service,
responsible.
which is
we're workers, we're
our
parents, we're
biggest
taxpayers,
refugee resettlement
and
agency,
we
is
don't
home to
have
some of the
that
most part-time
malice
staff. They
that they
amount to
do.
11 people.
Now we
These
need
are
to
the folks
organize
that will
better,
provide
definitely,
like on
but
the
that's part
ground
of it.
support to our newly arrived refugee families, intensive case management, transportation to
And this
medical
whole thing with
appointments,
the school
registrations,
bus, okay,
anything that these folks
it's not the
need,
school bus's fault.
and
The
they're no
company is
longer
not
able
their
to
fault.
provide
It's
those services.
administration's fault.
So I'm here as just a member of the community, and to inform you, the board, and the rest of the community of this need. So the church bell service They don't have the staff to provide their services, the same level of services, but they are relying on volunteers. So if you, your family, your religious organization, your any sort of club that you're in, you're looking for a way to volunteer and get involved with the community and meet some of the best people in the world.
Unfortunately, if
Please
you
consider
are a
signing up.
Christian
I can't.
organization
I'm not a
or a
member.
well-known
I don't
Christian, it's
work
a
for
pushback at the West
CWS,
Shore School
but I can
District.
point you in the right direction if you want to see me after the meeting.
Anything that has
Post
to do with
I mean,
God,
any
that's a pushback.
possible way you can think of to volunteer.
Any
there are
affiliation with
opportunities
God, that's
available.
a
So that would
a
be
pushback.
being part of a welcome committee. You have a question, Mr. Britton?
No, wait, hold.
Church World Service. So if you want to partner up with a family and take them around the community so that they can see things, that's an opportunity. If you just want to drop off supplies on somebody's porch and not say hi to them at all, that's something you can do. If you want to volunteer in your spare time, especially if you're a retiree, to take people to, I know, right? To transport people to their medical appointments, that is an opportunity you can have. Really, anything that you can do to help these people would be appreciated. And I was also made aware that there are about 50 families from Afghanistan that are going to be resettled in our area, some of whom will probably end up in our district. These are folks who were helping out the U.S. military before we withdrew from Afghanistan. They are not welcome in their home anymore. Again, the nicest people you can meet. They're only
Just FYI,
the
our
only thing they
withdrawal
did
from
wrong was that they were
Afghanistan,
born in
the
the wrong
worst
place at the wrong
military
time.
blunder
So
in
please,
modern
if
American
you
history.
if you have any
got that
spare
right.
time, please consider volunteering with this organization. Thank you.
I think I'm familiar with this organization. These are refugees that are fleeing, and they actually put in requests for refugees. So they've been involved in, their families have been involved in gangs. They're fleeing for their lives.
So this is
and-
asylum seekers.
Yes, these are
Yes.
asylum
Okay.
seekers.
Thoroughly vetted by the government.
I don't know
it's
if
a
they're
long
asylum
process to be
seekers
approved
per
to
se.
come
These
here.
are people who likely
really
helped
low.
us in
They don't know. They
Afghanistan,
don't have
and
our
therefore
language,
we
so there's a
brought
language
them
barrier.
out
They
when we
they
pulled
need
out
help going
because
grocery
they helped
shopping.
us, and if we left
They
them
need
there,
help
I mean, we
finding
gave them
homes,
asylum, but they're not
places to,
necessarily
like
asylum
getting established in the
seekers.
schools with the children.
Correct.
So I have had that opportunity to help in that.
These are
but
people
it
likely
does
who
take
helped
a lot of
us, and
time,
then we brought them with us
and
when we
I
left
ran out of
because
time.
if
So,
not, they were going to
but
be
I just
killed.
wanted to kind of expound on that since I was familiar with
I
it.
just got started volunteering with them, so I'm happy to share that information with anybody who would like it.
So this is a little bit irregular that we have a back and forth. It's not my favorite thing, but since you seem very passionate about this and you would be our last person, I think we can be a little bit more forgiving here. And Mrs. Tierney would like to speak with you. And if you're okay with it.
Oh,
I
Lord,
actually
Mrs.
just want to
Tierney.
affirm what you're doing. Our church partnered with
The
Church World Service,
Jezebel
and
of the
I
West Shore School
work with
District.
an ever-growing Congolese family.
Does she?
And I
She
knew
goes to
nothing, had
church? Is that
never
what
done
she just
anything like
said?
this. And Google Translate and
She claims
learned
that
how to
she
speak
is a
Swahili
deacon in
together,
her church.
and
She
it is
claims
so
that she is
meaningful
a
and so
Christian.
needed.
Okay.
You know what
And
church
Yet
that is?
she has known to,
skill other than a big
Abigail
heart.
Tierney.
So
Yeah.
I
You know
But
what
she has
church
been
you
known
go
to
to?
request
persecute
for anyone who's
Christians.
looking for a way to
I
study their
could find it out. I
God.
know it's in Camp Hill.
It was one
I
of
know
the
it's in
best
Camp
things I've
Hill.
ever done.
I can find that out for you.
We all smile in the same language.
But yeah, she claims she's a Christian, but she's on the wrong side of everything. She's a brick promoter for the woke agendas.
Well,
And
we're
a couple
happy that
meetings
you came
ago,
and let
she
us
was
know about it. We
unable
really
to
appreciate
define
it.
what a woman was. Find it in the videos. She was unable to define what a woman was. And she
There being no
believes
further
that
business, I
gender
declare this
is
meeting
not determined
adjourned.
at birth. So the meeting is
And
adjourned. Hopefully they didn't throw chairs at each other.
the meeting is over.
Yes, and hopefully they didn't throw chairs at each other or the screaming matches like last week, Mhm.
Yeah, like last month. Yeah, that was. I don't think it ended
Yeah,
the same
last month.
exact way. I don't think it ended the same way. So, which is a nice, it's a nice change of pace, and I have to, not have to have.
But get ready for
security
April, though,
involved.
Jonathan. Get ready for April, because in April is when they're going to revisit the bathroom policy, and they're going to revisit the men and women's sports. Now, I believe that the men and women's sports will be passed, and that's because of the executive order. Okay, because if there was no executive order, trust me, I don't think that would have been passed. Now, the bathrooms, there is a pushback. There's a pushback. Do I believe that they're going to make the right decision? No, I don't. I don't.
which is
Okay.
unfortunate because we have a conservative school board and they're not going to make the right decision. So,
Well, we
and
have a
this is why we
so-called
need,
conservative school board.
yeah, this
So-called.
is why we need more people to run because it's you got to get the fake conservatives weeded out. So if you're, run for school board, get involved. Don't just sit back and complain and watch. I would be running if I lived in the school district. I do not live in the West Shore School District.
Yes, I mean the West Shore School District is difficult. Region 1, where I am at, is the most difficult because that's where we have the Looney Tunes. They reside there. All these people that you see that come out in these meetings, they are from Region 1. Okay, and then there's like I say, a concerted effort to bring people from other areas and other organizations to join the madness, basically.
Yeah.
Now, this is why for Region 3 we need Sandra Gonzalez, because Sandra might not be the board's favorite person, because she's not, okay? She might not be the favorite person, but Sandra will hold their feet to the fire. And Sandra is truly for the kids. Sandra is really fighting for the voice of the parents and for protection of our children. We need to get Sandra, okay, into Region 3. Because if
Yeah.
we have more of a Geisway, it's going to be more of the same thing. And unfortunately, the board, okay, is supporting Geisway. I don't see why. When he was the president of the board,
That's the other thing I don't
he
like
was
about
he was a tyrant. He was a tyrant.
That's the other thing I don't like about this conservative school board members. They're supporting liberals who stand against everything that they're trying to get done, and that is just stupid politics.
It is. And what have we really gotten done this year outside of changing the solicitor? Okay, and
Yeah,
now you see how that's going. The Sunshine Act violation lawsuit. Did they violate the Sunshine Act?
yeah.
No, they didn't.
This school district is in total gridlock. They're in total lockdown. They can't move or do anything or accomplish anything. Every single person on the board, except the liberals, every conservative member who's actually a conservative, is scared of their own shadow. And the liberals are just going to keep pushing. So my advice to anybody on the school board who's a conservative is it's time to stand up for what you believe in and stick to your guns. And you shouldn't be supporting people who don't agree with what your vision is for this school. You should not be supporting them. That's just bad politics and it's stupid. I don't care if you're trying to make it so that the board can function and work. Once the election is over, whoever gets voted in, regardless of politics, should be working together. That's the other thing people don't realize, the people on the board. Once you're elected, liberal or conservative, it means work together to get things done. And nothing is getting done. They're in complete gridlock right now. And the conservatives are not standing up for themselves. They're continuing to let the liberals walk all over them with their agenda. And this election is an important election for the West Shore School District.
It is, and the thing is also, Jonathan, I hate saying this, but it doesn't take much to figure things out. Me along with other parents, we believe that they're playing good cop bad cop because they don't want to upset the left. Okay, they were like, okay, so it's 5 of us, 4 of us is going to say what the conservative parents want us to say, but there's going to be one that's going to vote opposite, okay, and give the liberal, okay, that leadway that they need to do what they want. Okay, so we said no, but one went rogue. And I think it's an issue of good cop, bad cop personally, because it's just the writings on the wall. The writings, I mean, we can see it,
Yeah.
Then,
And the
we have the
conservative,
situation with violence also in the school district that hasn't been resolved. If anything, they're saying that, oh, it's only Mrs. Reed saying that there's violence in the school. I'm like, have you people seen your own meetings online? I mean, how many
yeah,
times have we seen parents coming crying that their kids are being beaten up, brutalized in the schools, and the administration is seeing it, turning a naked eye, okay, walking the other direction, but they have the nerve to say that it's only Mrs. Reed making these claims, okay,
yeah,
that there's violence in the school? No, Tastos, put the taco aside, walk to these schools, okay? I mean, start doing your job, monitoring the schools, go to the police
yeah,
station, get those reports, because I know that there are many parents, okay, that have complained and have come to these meetings to complain about violence. There's so many things they took when they came into office. They all made these campaign promises. Okay. Out of all these promises, the only thing they've kept has been the solicitor. That's it. Everything else has gone the opposite direction. So parents are upset, and rightfully so. And this is why I will encourage the parents in the West Shore School District to really, study who these candidates are and make educated decisions. And if you want to finish the process of cleaning out the West Shore School District, we need to vote, okay, the veteran school board members like Geis White out. And we need to get people like Sandra Gonzalez. Yes, she's going to say it like it is. Yes, she shoots from the hip, but that is what we need. It's like my
Yeah, it
husband
is.
made this statement. Have you ever seen the movie The Avengers,
Of course I have.
Jonathan? Okay.
Of course
Well,
I have.
I see it here and there because that's like, to me, that's like a man thing. But anyway, um, he made a statement to me the other night. And I'm not sure which Avenger movie it is, but I know that they're all fighting in New York City and they're getting pulverized. And then the one that plays the Incredible Hulk, okay,
Yeah.
he hasn't changed into the Hulk yet. And the Black Widow is asking him to join the fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I'm going to make it worse." And she says, "Well, right now we need a little worse. In other words, right now, we need a little chaos." And that is Sandra Gonzalez. She's the Incredible Hulk. Right now, we need a little bit of good chaos, okay, to
And that's
bring forth what needs to be brought forth and win this battle.
yeah, and that's also Sandra Gonzalez's secret, just like Mark Ruffalo, aka Bruce Banner. See, the trick is she's always angry. That's a little inside joke though for the Avengers fans who are the Hulk. He gets angry and that's what he turns into the Hulk. But that's you find out in that movie that's his secret. He can control it because he's always angry. So I just threw
And right, and the thing is that Sandra's is righteous anger. She's right in what she's saying. Look at
That's
this
true.
young
Yeah,
lady
you're
that's
absolutely right.
spoken.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're
look
absolutely
at this
right.
young lady that's spoken, Jonathan. How many other young people haven't you seen speak in these meetings? It's almost the same rhetoric. They're indoctrinated. Okay, they're
Yeah.
indoctrinated. These kids, don't have the slightest clue of what reality is. And
No.
we have to win this generation back. Okay, not only by the education side of it, but this is a generation that's lost. This is a generation that's living in this dark mist, and we have to bring light. We have to save this generation that we're losing. And this is why I encourage the churches. It's time to wake up. It's time, to just gear up, okay, in the armor of God and go after these young people and bring them to the light, because this is like a lost generation.
Absolutely.
I hate saying it.
Yeah. Celeste, we are currently talking about how the conservative school board members need to grow a spine and the liberal school board members need to be voted out of office. That's actually the topic that we're talking about right now. Is the conservative school boards need to stand up for themselves and what they believe in. And if they have a vision for this school board, it's time for them to see it through. And if they don't, then maybe they shouldn't be on the school board. Because
Correct.
I'll tell you what, that's the one thing that's disgusted me about me getting involved in this whole thing, Mariana. The thing that's disgusted me more, or not more, but almost as much as putting boys and girls sports and boys and girls bathrooms. The only thing that it comes close to that is these so-called conservatives, these self-proclaimed conservative school board members, not standing up for themselves, not standing up for their constituents, not standing up for what they believe in. That's my biggest problem with that. Right
And
now.
I know that it's a battle because we're going to be fair. It is a battle. If we're going to be fair, they have been, putting up with a lot of things. But you know what? When you take a position like this and you're trying to stand up for truth and you're trying to stand up for what's right, that's going to be a battle. That's going to be a battle. So
Yeah.
don't stand there and say, God has chosen me for days such as this. And then when the battle comes, you turn tail and run, or you compromise, with the enemy.
Yeah,
Because that's what they're
absolutely.
doing. They're compromising with the enemy. I love
Denise-
each and every one of them. Okay, I love, and the only one, to be fair, that I can actually say in the board that still is holding on to her conservative views is Heidi Thomas. Okay, it's
Yeah.
Heidi Thomas. There's a lot. You hear a lot of people talking smack, but Heidi has been still standing firm on her conservative views, and I have to give her kudos. Shout out to Miss Thomas. Okay, because she still has that backbone. She's of a quiet demeanor, but she's still holding on to that conservative view. Hey, Denise is on.
Denise, you are muted. I don't know if you know that or not. And also, the one thing I want to say to the other conservative school board members is you want to do things so that you don't offend them and end up with a whole lobby full of people who are going to scream at you. Guess what? If I can steal or amend a quote from Lord of the Rings, the left is angry and offended whether you would risk it or not. So They're already offended. They're already angry. So you don't need to risk it because it's already done. So see it through.
Correct. See it through.
Denise, welcome to the Boiling Point podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be with you guys.
Did Mariana do a good job holding it down during the watch along in my absence so that I could sit back and rest?
I have no doubt she did. I was unable to
Oh, you were at
watch
the meeting,
while
weren't you?
I was at the meeting and
My
left early,
apologies.
and yeah, had to. Mm,
Oh,
I'm
man,
verifying something in the policy right now, so I wanted to just before I speak, really make sure I do that.
Oh, go ahead. Check it out and then let us know
So,
whether you're
but
ready to get involved.
what do you guys think so far?
We're just talking
I
about.
mean, is it over?
Yeah, the meeting's over.
The meeting?
Yeah, the meeting's over, and we're just
Oh,
talking
that was
about.
a quick one.
We're just talking about the conservatives need to stand up for themselves, and again, the left is already offended. So stop trying to worry about risking it and just do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And also, listen to advice. Let me tell you, Denise is very well versed in the Constitution. Okay. And she has tried to educate these people. Okay. She has tried to, teach them that the decisions that they're making are wrong, that they're going against constitutional inherent rights. Okay. And they are not looking to listen. They're not looking to listen. So, and that's worrisome because you know what? The
Yeah.
Constitution is what protects us, as citizens of the United States. And I got to give it to Denise because listen, Denise, she hasn't turned into an Incredible Hulk. I don't know why yet, but she will eventually. I see her one day going.
Well, she's always. I told you, she's always.
The law
Whenever
does it
she
for
wants
the
to.
law's gonna do it for us, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
yeah,
and that's another thing. I want to make the parents aware of one thing. Okay, one thing that Brian Geiswhite is pushing for is that when the parents speak, right, you have 4 minutes, and you know that, right, Jonathan? So they have
Yeah.
4 minutes. So what they're pushing for is that after the parents speak, okay, they want to give the board, okay, an additional minute or two to correct whatever they feel that the parents said incorrectly.
Which is
But
ridiculous.
they're doing it exactly, but they're doing it subtly because if you notice what Ryan Argott did after Denise spoke, like trying to say that what she quoted was incorrect. And that is the things that they want to do because they stated, okay, and Brian Geiswhite stated that the parents cannot have the last word. So when you're putting things on public record and you're correcting and you are admonishing, this is what they're looking to do. So that was a brief little snippet of what they want to do.
Any parents who do
And
speak
yeah,
at a
that
school
was
board, any
snaky.
parents who speak at a school board meeting, especially if they actually implement this and then they get to rebuttal you, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to have you on the Boiling Point podcast because guess what? When their meeting ends, they're done. We keep going. So you, as the parents, can still get the last word. All you have to do is come on and give it to us, and it's going to be out there for the world to see.
Yeah, I was not incorrect because PSBA is not in any constitution. Okay, it's just an association that has no authority, and they are getting revision and developing using resources from there and reviewed by the members of cabinet. Whoever that may be is anybody's guess because they're never clear. As well as legal counsel, whoever that may be as well. And we're involved in due process for removing board officers. I mean, that is serious. And it's not a true due process situation when they're just an association. They're not a true judicial, they're not a judge. They cannot give someone due process for removal like that. And so there was no confusion on my part, Dr. Argott, just because, it didn't specifically say that they were making the policy. They're already involved in all the other policies. So how are they even involved in our manual to begin with? And I believe I may have said that at the beginning. I don't recall. I meant to, because I see they're
in the social
involved
media,
in
did you catch
everything.
that? Did you
I
catch
didn't
that?
because
They're
after
also
the
okay. So
freedom of
they're
speech, Yeah.
They're involved in the social media. So whatever the district is
In
going to
what
post on the
way?
social media, they has to be submitted to them. Read it. I have the policy up in our page. They're involved in the
Hold
social
on.
media also aspect of it. Okay, submission to the PSBA. So it's like they are in bed now with the West
To
Shore School
use
District.
against the employees of a district, or
Oh yeah, and
or
that's a whole different policy also, because they wanna limit what the employees say on social media. And they were all like, pass, 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 pass. This is gonna come back to bite them in the rear end. Watch. They're
yeah.
not listening. It's gonna come to bite them in the rear end. Then they're gonna be crying, oh, if I only knew what we try to tell you, ding back. You know, it's like the same thing with the mental health evaluation. How many times didn't we warn them?
How many times did they dismiss us when we've spent hours, gathering and printing and putting together and making it very simple for them, so they didn't have to spend a ton of their time, and they could go, okay, and they could verify anything that we bullet pointed or highlighted, etc., very easily.
They
But
didn't even read it. They don't
it
even
was
read
like
it.
it was nothing.
Mhm.
It was nothing to them, and tonight really showed me they don't care. I'm sorry, but you're not going to tell me you are for freedom, for children, for parental rights when you're running them over every single vote, pretty much.
And I love the guy who was like, "Oh, well, the record indicates that only 4 assaults happened out of 100,000, and that's acceptable." Saying it out, saying the
And
way
it's
he did,
way
like,
more than that. I'm telling you. I
yeah,
got
I love these guys
screenshots
who
of
get these
parents.
studies. It's like, dude, you don't even know what you're looking for in a study. So just, you know what I mean?
And even one assault, even if it's one assault, that's one too many.
Exactly.
If we can
Yeah.
stop it, we
Exactly.
need to
Yes.
stop it. So that's
Yeah.
unacceptable. And for them clapping like he just said something, it's what I call the brain fart moment. Are you people listening to yourselves? You know what I'm saying? Are you listening to what you're, applauding? No, one is one too many. We need to protect our girls and our boys, because if you think that a boy cannot be sexually assaulted by a girl, think twice.
Let's also talk about the other side of that. What happens when you have boys and girls go into the same bathroom, and this very confused boy who thinks he's a girl, and then what happens when this girl just decides to accuse him of assault? What if he's actually not guilty?
What might happen is that they may learn math. They may learn that 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you got to understand that it's protecting. It's not just about protecting the girls or the person who's getting assaulted. It's also about protecting the person who could be in a situation where they could be accused of being an assaulter. And then who's going to believe
and
that?
that's what they
Who's
don't
gonna
want to
believe that?
understand.
Yeah, your
Jonathan,
little girl
I
comes
have
home from
said this to
school
them.
and says that she was assaulted. You're going to go react no matter whether it's true or not. You're going to react first and figure it out later.
Exactly. I have tried to tell them this in one ear, out the other. Okay, because like I said, what if a girl has a crush on a boy, the boy's not paying attention to her, and then she's gonna cry, that he beat her, he molested her, he raped her, God forbid. Okay,
Yeah.
and like you said, people are gonna react before they investigate.
Yeah.
And they're not listening.
No, it's a dangerous situation. They're
It's very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah, they think
Parents don't realize the
they think it's
scope
about the
that's coming.
children. They think it's about the children and stuff, and it is about the children though. But it's about keeping them safe and protected, not just from each other, but from themselves
Jonathan,
as
I
well.
will ask you a question.
They sport do those
I mean,
things.
exactly. We say it's about the children, right? So my question now, because I'm gonna tell you right now, this thing with the bathroom policy, right? What they're afraid of is that if they pass it, they're gonna face another lawsuit. So sue me if I'm doing the right thing. Sue me. Okay.
Yeah,
But
I know. Yeah.
it's about the children. Is it really about the children? Or is it about safeguarding their seat on
And
that
how
board?
have they looked
And
at
their money.
Have they seen the executive
Let's
branch
keep
of
it
this
real.
country? Are they watching? Have they watched the most recent election? Do they know who is sitting in the White House? They're worried about passing conservative ideals with the right kind of person in the White House. This is the time to pass those.
This is the time to hit that floor running.
Well, they're not in favor of the people.
Yeah,
Clearly,
you have the people on your side. You have a president who is obvious, is pretty clear where he stands on this whole situation. Now is the time to act, not later. What are they worried about? They're worried about some loudmouth bringing a lawsuit to them. You're always going to have, that's always going to be a worry. There's always going to be a loudmouth that could potentially bring a lawsuit. That's how this country works. The point is, you stand up for what's right, even in the face of headwinds coming at you. You still push forward on it. That just because it's hard doesn't mean you give it up. The correct path is often more difficult.
These people that are making the noise, okay, they're not even the majority, they're the minority.
No,
the majority is the people that voted them in, and they're failing us. They're failing our kids. Whether they're like hearing it or not, they're failing us. Okay?
Yeah.
Because
are.
you're scared of a lawsuit. So you're gonna be led by the minority, by the no's, versus the people that voted you in.
Because they're scared. May I also say that those who are willing to give up essential liberties in order to obtain a little bit of safety deserve neither safety nor liberty. And I think that's an important thing to remember too. You're letting these people walk all over you. Then you yourself are not deserving of the freedom and liberty that you have. Stand up for yourself.
Correct.
Correct. I can't argue with you. I mean, at times I'm speechless, and to leave this Puerto Rican speechless, that takes a lot.
Yeah, it's
And at times
ridiculous. I
I'm
really
speechless.
can't believe it. Conservative school board members still placating and kowtowing to the minority. It's just, it's
I say that we are
unbelievable.
a so-called conservative school board members because I'm yet to see them work in unity as a conservative school board.
No, and now you got
We
conservative
were
school board
thrilled when we
members
had a
who are
conservative school
endorsing.
board, and
Now you got conservative school board members endorsing liberal school board members for whatever stupid ass reason they want to claim, for continuity or to smooth things over so that they can all
That's
work
not the
together,
will of the
which is the most
people.
ridiculous statement I've ever heard in my life. It's just
You're right.
ridiculous. Yeah, I'm very unhappy with anybody on the school board that's conservative right now. I think they all need a shot.
I mean, even this thing of them,
Well, they need to
of
come
them
to
allowing the
Jesus. They
board
got
members.
women.
They do.
Several.
And this thing about them allowing the school board members to speak after the parents to correct. So when I made a comment,
We're going to nip
correct
that
me
in
if
the
I'm
bud.
wrong. Right. When I made a comment to one of the board members about that, the reply that I got, Jonathan, was like, "This is our meeting. This is the board's meeting." And I said, "No,
Really?
it's the people's
Where
meeting."
you're about to find out
Yes.
it's not your meeting. It's the people's
I
meeting.
said, and
People have power.
exactly, I said, it's the
And we
people's
will
meeting, and
remove
you
you.
are our servants. Right?
Lawfully.
You are our servants. We
I knew I
voted you in.
wasn't-
We'll vote you out.
Correct.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to make the April or the March school board meetings, but you know what? It might be time for the Boiling Point podcast to show up in person.
That would be
Oh, they're gonna love
amazing. We
you.
need fair, free press there, and whenever you can, we'll be there to support you.
Yeah, so it might be time for
Because
us.
this
it
is
might be-
absolutely, this is tyrannical government out of control. They
Yeah.
are not honoring anything in the laws, even their own stuff. So we have no happiness, safety, and protection that we're guaranteed, secured
Yeah.
for
I'm
us
just
or our children. That's a problem.
going to need to talk to my brother first to make sure he can provide security for me. Because
Oh
if I
yeah,
show
I'll
up
let
there,
Casey
I'm
know.
likely,
Have
I'm
you
likely
met
gonna
us?
be, you know, if
Yeah,
I
have you
show
met
up
these
there,
kids?
I'm gonna be under fire.
There's
you
4
intelligent
security guards on posted up. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. We won't let anything happen to you. That's for sure. But the thing
No,
is, we
we will
do need,
not.
that's another thing. We need real media out there. We need the boiling point. We need, real conservative media and voices to come to these meetings, because we have Penn Lies that come out. We have the disreputable York Dispatch that comes out. Okay. Where's the real media? Where's
I'm
the
the real
conservative
media
media?
for you.
We need you guys out there. Exactly.
Yeah,
We got the
the
boiling
Boiling
point, and
Point
we know that.
podcast is your media.
There you go, and we got it, and we know that. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, there has to be a unified effort to bring the truth out, the boiling point, and whoever else to bring the truth out so that people can really see the truth, because there's so much misinformation when they turn on Fox News in the morning and they're talking against the West Shore School District, okay? And they're, parroting
With their hit
the
pieces.
rhetoric that Danielle Gross and ABC is pushing. We need people to push the truth.
Yikes.
We need truth pushers.
What a clown.
Yeah, the local media around here has dropped the ball big time.
Oh, they're in their pockets
Big
like
time.
the local police are, because no one's being held accountable for harms done.
I'm about to
with
start
bullying.
calls into the police station too, so that I can get some information from them and see if they're, because I'm pressed.
Well, I mean,
If they don't
really,
give-
we don't want
if they
policy
don't give me,
officers there anyway. We need sheriffs.
if they tell me that they're not going to give me information or whatever, then that'll be just something else to report.
And we also need police reports showing the truth of the violence in the West Shore School District.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm
We
going to
need
call and
police
ask
reports.
them if they can give me the information on any time that they were called out to the West Shore School District.
Yeah,
They
a
don't even need to give
breakdown,
me-
data, percentages, anything they can give us.
Yeah, they don't even need
Because
to give
we
me what the
have-
reason is. They could just let me know how often it happened.
Correct, because we have this dragon, taco eating dragon right here, saying that it's not happening in the West Shore School District. What violence? What
I'm going
violence?
to try. I think I'm going to reach out to them before next week.
We are so tired of being gaslit and saying things are not happening when we have proof they're happening.
We've had parents come in crying. Parents come in crying, begging
Yes.
them, and they've done not a thing. So we need to, make these video clips and then send it
People
to them in
need
a
to
little
put these
gift, maybe an
claims in
Easter gift.
affidavits.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We need affidavits. Yes,
The
we
judges need made aware, and if it has to go to the Supreme Court, you can do that, and I will help you do that, and it will not have to be the exhaustive administrative process first. So,
And parents
yeah.
need to come together. Parents, you need to use your voice.
We do. We
Okay?
need to assemble as a
together.
community, because we can remove all of them that are in breach of trust, which is treason.
Yeah.
When you're coming against our fundamental rights, you are in breach of oath and in breach of contract. We can remove you peacefully, but you're going.
Yeah.
But they have the
And
police,
that
the
is-
policy enforcement, policy debate. No, we're not having a policy debate over constitutional rights. It's not happening.
Yeah. And if there's parents out there that want to get involved and you don't know how, reach out to the Boiling Point podcast. I'll be happy to put you in touch with Denise and or Mariana and get you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that we can
More
tell you how to
comment.
get involved. So reach out if you don't know how. We can help you.
And another thing, I have a lot of, elderly people that want to know how they can help, but they're limited. They have their limitations. As Christians, you can help out with prayer. You can help out with prayer because we need prayer. We need prayer for this community and the school. And just to
we
remind
have some
everybody,
ideas. Oh, sorry.
yeah, on
Go ahead.
March 22nd, we are having a prayer walk. We're going to be meeting at Cedar Cliff, at the Cedar Cliff High School parking lot behind the Aquaporium. Okay, and that's going to be at 10 a.m. March 22nd. Come and join us. Let's pray these strongholds down, because we have some real strongholds in this community. Okay, that needs to be pulled down in the name of Jesus, because ultimately it's in the name of Jesus. We're having a fight, okay, but this fight is spiritual, and it's just something that people need to see. This is a spiritual fight, and you fight, fire with fire, and when it comes to the spiritual things, we take it to Jesus. We take it to Jesus. There is power in the name of
Amen.
Jesus. We have to
Amen.
come together as a Christian community to bring down these strongholds that's holding this school district, okay, the West Shore School District, captive.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, get involved. And you can also help by sharing out and leaving a comment with us on our live streams, sharing out our live streams so that we can reach more people. That is also, can be helpful too. People underestimate the little stuff. Prayer, sharing, liking, commenting. Those are all things that can they're little, but they can have big impacts. Our prayer's not small.
Assembling together in small town halls, small restaurants.
Prayer's not small, but like the little
No,
things like
and
reactions
prayer
and
walks, all
sharing
of
and
it's
commenting, all of that little stuff can add up. The more you comment, the like and share, the more it gets circulated on social media, the more people we can reach. you know, you got to wonder how many parents maybe don't even know, don't even get online and look, don't even see, nothing shows up in their feeds. You know, there might be people out there who still don't know what's happening in their local school board.
And there are people that don't know until we start speaking, and getting back into this prayer stuff, Jonathan, let me tell you, there are times that I think Denise, Christy, and I have had moments, okay, in which we're like, we want to, throw in the towel, and we're like, that's it. But the other two hold that one up. Okay, we can't stop the fight because it's for the children and the future of our country. And we hold each other up. And imagine a community of people holding each other up and declaring the truth. And people like you, Jonathan, and I have to give you a shout out. Let's give Jonathan a shout out for undertaking
Yeah.
this task, okay,
One
of
of the
putting the truth
people.
out there. Okay, because not everybody would do that, and yet, you
No.
said, Lord, here
Most
I
people
am,
are
and we're going to bring forth
tied
the
with their
truth.
safety blanket.
Yeah, so imagine, a unity
I
of
never-
journalists, bringing truth out, of Christians coming together, of, us fighting together. And it's not ideology. We can do it. Okay. It just takes, faith, mustard seed faith.
Yeah, I never
Amen.
thought that when I first started this, I did it, to get involved and to start talking about and, commentate about stuff and to try and influence the conversation. But I never imagined that I'd get this involved at the local level, like within the school districts and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful that, I made this to give, obviously I'm here for a reason, to give you guys the media access that you are not getting from the media.
Correct.
Correct.
And we're very thankful that, God is using you to allow us to have that platform to speak out the truth that's being hidden along with the laws. So it's very
it's definitely the work of God too, because if you follow the trajectory of the Boiling Point podcast, year one, we don't end up where we are now. You know what I mean? Like when I first started this, what the plan was and where we are now, that's not exactly where was originally intended. You know what I mean? This is obviously where this is better for us. You know what I mean? We're getting local traction. We're getting a lot of people tuning into us locally, which is actually better. You should do locally before you try and do nationally. But yeah, the way we started to now, you'd be like, how did you end up here from there? So you don't know where you're going to go.
God has the steps ordered, and we're letting him lead, and we are to assemble, and I pray that more people come out unafraid, brave, be of good courage. The law will protect you. We are all better with strength in numbers together, and we can get educated real quick.
The left is already triggered. We have a president whom I've never seen. Listen, when Biden took office, I thought I'd seen it. I thought I'd seen it all. I did not expect the people, and I know people, like people who I know personally, are completely over the edge with Donald Trump being president. They're completely over the edge, talking about civil war, talking about, like, it's crazy. I'm like, you are insane. I know you. I know you. You are not crazy. When did you become this? It's unbelievable. I can't believe how many people are just so off the wall right now.
They're feeling cornered.
Yeah,
they don't see remedy. They don't want to slow down.
But the conservatives, when Biden became president, yeah, we talked about how it was a stolen election. We talked about how they likely cheated. But we weren't building underground bunkers. We're not preparing for the end days. When Biden took office, we weren't preparing for the end days. We may have prepared for some things to get bad, but we wouldn't prepare for the end days. We knew it wasn't going to be the end of our republic. Just because Biden was the president wasn't going to end our republic. But people seem to think that Trump being president is going to end our republic. And it's astonishing to me
because
that people
it is a little, but it's deeper than that, Jonathan, because now we're talking about the globalists. We're talking about the one world government that wants to take over. We're talking about things that are happening, in the back that people do not study, people do not research, people do not understand. Okay. And then you add to that, you add a nation that has turned its back on God. It's a nation that has, turned its back on the foundation, a nation that has turned its back on the Constitution. Okay, a nation that can say, that a woman is a woman and a man is a man. I mean, really,
Yep.
we have people sitting in that board that they're arguing that your gender is not assigned at birth. That birth does not determine your gender. No, you're either a girl or you're a boy. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so when the
on the school
nation
board.
turns back at God, we see this mass insanity that we're having,
Yeah,
and then the indoctrination of the media when it comes to Donald Trump, because they haven't stopped. They've gotten even more bold and more ferocious. And I pray to God that I don't know if he can do it or not. I don't know how that works, but for there be some laws, some policies that will smack our media in place, because all they are is indoctrination camps also.
people need to tune out. We're a people got to realize this too. We're a capitalist society. Whether you like it or not, we are. The almighty dollar
We are.
does drive things. Turn them off. Turn CNN off. If you live locally, don't turn on CBS Evening News anymore. Don't turn on Fox 43 News anymore. Don't turn on ABC 27 News anymore. There are, believe me, there are other outlets that will give you local news. So turn
Well,
on someone
me and my
else.
husband, do that.
Yeah,
We only
don't
turn
turn
on
on
Fox
the
for the weather.
locals.
That's it, for the weather. But
Yeah,
other than that, we're seeing One American News. We're seeing Newsmax. Okay, Boiling Point. Other things on Rumbles. Okay, that gives you the information. The Blaze. Okay, I love the Blaze. Steve Dace, he's awesome. Okay, so and these are people that are gonna expose truth.
yeah,
Okay, because we
yeah.
need truth. Our nation
Yeah.
don't even know what truth looks like anymore, much
Turn
less the
off the
definition.
turn off the mainstream media, and then when they don't have any advertisers, then they won't have any money. That's how you're going to hurt them. It's going to take some time, but if everybody turned off, if all the conservatives decided never to turn on CNN again, then in a few years they'd be gone. CNN would be gone.
Correct. Correct.
Oh, I think
That is
Denise
correct.
had to bounce, I believe.
I guess.
Oh, she's going to change
But
devices,
yeah.
so she might be right back.
Okay.
So she might be
Okay.
right back.
But yes, again, guys, in Region 2, I asked everybody to endorse Kelly Brent over Terry Mickles. You want to see what Terry Mickles is really about? Look at these videos. Okay, look at her affiliations. And she's also affiliated with the people who are suing over this bogus sunshine violation. Okay. In Region 3, Sandra Gonzalez is the best option, not Brian Geiswhite, because you're just going to get more of the same. They were saying, and they were saying that they sold their trash truck. So if you get Geiswhite in, but that's exactly what you're going to get, the trash truck back. Okay, we need warriors. We need truth. Please support Sandra Gonzalez in Region 3. She is the warrior. She is the
Definitely
true
support Sandra
conservative.
Gonzalez. Yeah,
We do.
Boiling Point Podcast has officially endorsed. I put it up on the visual earlier in case anybody didn't see it. We have officially endorsed Sandra Gonzalez for school board. I would encourage everybody to vote for Kelly Brent, but I won't. I'm not going to endorse her. I won't. I won't endorse her. I think you should vote for her, but I won't endorse her. I won't, because there's some miscommunication there, and I don't really like being used or being used as a pawn. And as soon as she realized that the Boiling Point Podcast wasn't going to be her pawn, she has not reached out to us. She has not spoken to me. She has not done anything. And so, while for a lack of a better choice, you should vote for Kelly Brent, but I won't endorse her. I'm sorry, I won't. And Kelly, you want my endorsement? You want my show's endorsement? Reach out. Let's talk.
Okay,
And
well,
we're gonna have,
there you go. It was put out there.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not. Yeah, anybody, and even if you're a liberal, reach out. If you're on the school board, Mrs. What's her name? Who do we want? Tierney and whoever else.
Oh, Tierney. We don't want Tierney.
No,
okay,
but come
Tierney.
on the show. I'd be happy to have a talk with Abigail Tierney too. Be prepared. Don't come on my show unprepared. Be prepared. But even they're even welcome to come on too. They're never going to hit me up. They're never going to come on. But the offer is there. And like I said, for Kelly, yes, you should vote for Kelly, because you don't want what's her face being voted in. Who's running against her? Mickle, right?
Mickles, yeah.
Yeah,
Mickles is
Mickle. Yeah,
part
you
of
don't
this
want her,
bogus
believe me.
lawsuit.
Yeah, you
And
don't
Milkus
believe
was also part of trying to cancel Kelly's husband's business, trying to cancel Dr. Cox's business, trying to cancel Kelly's business. She was part of that mob.
See, that's what I'm saying. And I even
Okay.
offered
She's
Kelly. I
part of
said
the lawsuit and running against her. Oh, that's not a conflict of interest.
she could. I even
Mm.
Well,
told
she's
Kelly,
not one of the
Wow.
people that sued, but she is associated with the people that are suing. Okay. So,
Okay.
she's backing them up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
yeah.
even
So
that lawsuit, even that lawsuit, listen, it's about what? The lawsuit is about
It
removing
should be dismissed. It's a
Brooke.
clown.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we need to see the behavior of some people in that board, like Adam Trone. Okay. They were desperate. He was desperate to try to keep Miss Say on. Okay. And he made an offer to a school board member that if he voted or she voted for Say, he was bribing, they were offering to make that person president. And that is one elected servant trying to bribe another. And I know this
that
I
was
goes
an
against
interesting.
believe that
That was an interesting post Adam
a
Trone had
breach
up.
of trust right there.
And that was an interesting post Adam Trone had up the other day. All of a sudden, him and Kelly, or was it Adam Trone that was all of a sudden now he's for Kelly? He's now for Kelly.
Yeah.
As school board president, all of a sudden that came out of left field. And listen, this is what I'm talking about, and this is why I can't endorse.
Fake. You
This is why
can't go by that.
This is why you should vote for Kelly, but I'm not going to endorse her because I think there's some backdoor stuff happening between the parties. I think some conservatives and some liberals are trying some backdoor shenanigans.
It's a
And
mass confusion, is what it's
and that's
becoming,
not.
because
Listen, I'm all
nobody
for
can decipher who's who and who's for what.
I'm all for
That's the way they
working
want it.
together. I'm all for working together, but when as soon as you start getting back scratching and one hand washes the other, there's more there than just, oh, let's work together. There's more going on there. I'm not convinced of anything within the school board yet. And all of a sudden, these changing ideas, and now Adam Trone and Kelly Brent are on the same page, and now they're for each other. That's just it's shady. That is shady.
He's not for her. Let's be clear. He's not for her at all.
That's not what I got.
Is
I
her not
saw-
exposing him. What
I
she's
saw that
for
post.
is her not exposing the truth of what he did. But you see, we the people, we know. Because one person speaks, the other person speaks, and it trickles, and we're able to confirm it. So yes, he tried to bribe one of the fellow school board members, okay, to vote for Miss Say, okay, and promise that he will get the liberal board, okay, to vote this person in as president. Okay, that's one elected official bribing another. But thank God that elected official had enough integrity to say no. Kudos to that school board member that said no and stood in integrity. And you'll be surprised who that school board member was. Kudos to that school board member.
Yeah.
It's time for truth to come out. It's time for truth to come out.
Yeah, there is
Abigail
too much.
Turney.
There is too
Abigail
much
Turney, and I
backdoor.
can show you the paperwork, Jonathan. I can show you the paperwork. Abigail Turney. Did she not say, Denise, okay, about the secret RFP that she got notice of that secret RFP an hour before the meeting? But yet, right to knows or something. There's something. Okay. I have emails from her informing her minions and her mob and the Democratic Club, okay, about what was going down a week before, a week before she made that statement, okay, which proves that what Kelly Brent and Heidi Thomas said is true, that information was provided to administration a week before. Obviously, it got into Tierney's hand. She went crazy, the keyboard warrior that she is sending all these emails to call the mob out, and bang, zoom, we got the Sunshine Act violation. Okay, they didn't violate anything. They presented it a week before. Costos and Ryan Argott, said they were going to give it to the board and
Withheld
didn't.
it.
I have the proof.
Withheld it. And then lied to the people about it.
Yeah.
Gaslit the community. And of course, because we live in a time in which people don't research, okay, and they're listening to the disreputable York Dispatch, and they're listening to Penn Lies, Okay. Now here comes the mobs with their, with their flags, not knowing, because tyranny is in the back as the puppet master. I've said it before and I will say it again. Okay. She has the spirit of Jezebel. And no, folks, the spirit of Jezebel is not a sexual spirit. Okay. It is a spirit of manipulation. The Delinian spirit is a sexual spirit, and that's for a whole different study.
Well, I think that's where we probably want to get ready to wrap it up now. We've been going for 2.5 hours. We still do have a viewer hanging on. Thank you, viewer, for still hanging on this late after the meeting. We appreciate it. We did have a couple of viewers during the meeting, and I appreciate that as well for anybody. Now we just got to get a few more tuning in, and we got to get them. Remember, whoever's watching right now, hit that like button, hit that heart button, hit that react button. Leave us a comment, which I think you have already done because I'm pretty sure it's Christy who's still tuning in. So she has commented, or Celeste. Christy or Celeste are likely still watching, and they have commented, so I appreciate that. But don't forget to hit the like button. That matters just as much too. It's about circulation and us reaching it. And I can assure you that Facebook does not like the Boiling Point podcast any more than the liberals of the West Shore School District do. So we need the help from the people in order to get our circulation, because they don't want to circulate us for nothing. And I so can't stress that enough. They really, really, really hate the Boiling Point podcast. So
they really, really hate the truth.
Yeah, I mean, but Facebook has hammered me multiple times telling me that they always say it's an error. It's an error in their algorithms, and I was circulated more than I should have. So,
and they change numbers and views, and they mess with.
They always,
this has been going on for 3-4 years now.
Yeah, they've been putting the hammer down on me for about 3 or 4 years now, actually. So, please hit that like button. Please hit that react button. Mariana has given the storefront a shout out. She's got the scroll across the bottom telling you where to go. bonfire.com/store/the Boiling Point podcast. We have a bunch of new apparel. We have duffel bags now. We have we have yard signs. We have pants.
Get the mug.
We have
jackets. The mugs are beautiful.
Yeah, the mugs. Yes, the mugs are excellent. We have travel mugs. We have a lot of stuff on the storefront. Go and pick something up. The stuff is a little bit more pricey than you might see on other people's storefronts, but the quality is better. You're not going to find a better quality items than in our storefront. I guarantee it. Okay, our stuff is high quality, so pick it up. It is worth the money because it's apparel, t-shirts, sweatshirts, pants. These are t-shirts, sweatshirts, and pants that you're going to have 10 years from now. They're still going to be good. I still have my shirt from 7 years ago, the very first shirt I ever bought. It's barely faded. It's still excellent condition. I still wear it all the time. So pick up some apparel. It would really help us. And for any of the parents who are still watching, or if they're watching this late, the Boiling Point podcast, we have a couple of expenses coming up. And so if you want to donate, I will be sharing out my GoFundMe page. If you want to donate to help us with some of these costs, we are trying to find sponsors, but anybody who has done that knows that that's a process. It's not just, hey, we're looking for sponsors, and then all of a sudden our phones are ringing off the hook for people wanting to sponsor us. It's going to be work, and we're going to have to go out and find us some sponsors, and we are doing that, but we haven't yet, which means we're still relying on the people who watch us. If you want to help us, that please do, because everything that you guys don't help with comes right out of my pocket. That's how I fund the Boiling Point podcast, right out of my pocket. So pick something up, the storefronts, give a donation. All of that will help us over the next 2 months while we have some of our yearly expenses coming up.
And my thing is, we're talking about truth. We're talking about truth. So share these videos out and get the truth out. There's different ways of getting the truth out. Okay. So you want truth and you want people to know the truth, share these videos out.
Yes, please do. And I think we lost Denise. So for Denise and Mariana, thank you for taking over the majority of the hosting during the meeting for me. Because I needed to, didn't have enough energy. I pretty much rested and just sat here and listened to to the meeting, and then got involved, once it was finished. So thank you for tuning in. Keep coming back to the Boiling Point podcast. And until next time, I am your host, JD, and that's the end.
Bye.
you.